Now, coming to Woodward Sports, Woodward and Main Street, the Woodward Sports Network Detroit Lions Show. Let's go! Catch Gabrielle D. Phillips, Matt Broder, and Terry Foster for all the latest news on your Detroit Lions every week. Only on the Woodward Sports Network YouTube channel and woodwardsports.com.
What's up, everybody?
What up,
this is
people?
Woodward Nights. I'm back again with Brandon Dent, a.k.a. Detroit Kool-Aid.
Let's go, man. How you feeling tonight?
I'm feeling good. This is the last show. Temporarily. Woodward Nights. It's being put on hold. We're moving to the mornings.
Yes, sir.
But, hey, we got big things in the work for this time slot later on. I can't tease too much here. But there's big things happening at Woodward Sports. Little rebranding, a little bit of everything. But I'm so pumped to be doing this show one last time with Detroit Kool-Aid, with my man, Nick, a.k.a. Detroit Mario, in the sound booth.
Yeah.
Nick,
Let's
what's up?
go. One last ride, fellas. It's been a hell of a football season with Woodward Nights. I've been so happy to do this show with everybody that has came in here, filled in. I loved being in this audio booth, making sure you guys sound good. We've had some troubles along the way, but everything worked out. KG, how you feeling tonight?
What up, though, man? Hey, I love y'all, man. I know it feel like we never gonna see each other again, but you know, it's been a good ride, man. I love the night show, and let's go out with a bang, man.
Let's
go.
do it. Let's do it. It's you know what it's been, and we'll talk about it. Maybe we'll get a little emotional at the end of the show. No, I don't know. But it's been a roller coaster of a year already. But speaking of roller coasters, also, did my voice just crack?
It might have.
I think it just did. Speaking of roller coasters, Penei Sewell and Jahmyr Gibbs. I know they're in Florida for the Pro Bowl, but they're hanging out, having a good time together. They were riding some roller coasters. Check out this picture. I hope you guys can see it on your screen. But we got Penei Sewell on the left and Jahmyr Gibbs. First off, just on a serious note, having those two hang out and ride a roller coaster together just for the boys, I love seeing that. Second, these facial expressions.
I know.
You know, it shows these are human beings. These are mortals.
Yeah,
I mean,
they
look
are.
at them like.
I'm Jahmyr Gibbs right now on that roller coaster. I'm telling you.
100%, and I'm Penei Sewell. I've been waiting my whole life to say that. No, but like those are two especially mystical creatures to a lot of Detroit sports fans.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
To see them, just like every other human being, terrified on a roller coaster. You like roller coasters, Kool-Aid?
I used to, man.
Yeah.
I used to get on every single roller coaster I could, man. As I got older, I was just like, you know what? I'm going to keep my feet on the ground.
Yeah. I used to be terrified. Terrified.
Where are you at now?
Oh, I love them. I haven't been on a roller coaster in a long time, but it was seventh grade. We had a class trip to Cedar Point down in Sandusky, Ohio. No relation to Jerry. And there was a girl. Her name was Ashley. One of my really good friends, actually. She convinced me to go on the Raptor.
No relation to Jerry, bro. I can't let that one
You
slide.
know what I'm doing?
Funny for that.
Got to distance ourselves from the Sandusky mess. No, it took a little peer pressure to get me on my first roller coaster, the Raptor. Where your feet are dangling and you go upside down. Nightmare busted. Fear busted. Gone.
Bro, you know what my first roller coaster was?
Millennium Force.
Not the Millennium Force, the Magnum 2000, man.
Hell no.
I was like 11. My pops was like,
Come
"You're
on.
tall for your age. Come on, let's go."
Come on. You were Magnum at age 11?
Millennium, yeah, Magnum 2000.
Come on, it's a nighttime.
Woodward Nights, everybody.
You
Right,
know
we're
what?
gonna roll to start this show.
Borderline
All I know
pause.
is at the end of that ride, I know I got a nice shade of like brown here, but I was definitely purple.
Just
Oh
terrified.
yeah, I got off the ride. I was like, but after that like hour, I was like, let's go do it again.
Let's go.
Let's
Let's go. You know what I hope also happens again? It would be next year, so I don't know if that's the best transition. But there's All-Star Weekend. Pro Bowl's going on all weekend. Alex DeBrincat, Detroit Red Wings. Nick, correct me if I'm wrong. He is the Red Wings' lone representative for the All-Star game.
Yes, I believe so.
Have
I can
a year.
double check on Larkin. Maybe
I don't
he's
think
just getting
Larkin
some
is-
rest here because he certainly deserves it.
Yeah, so maybe he was a reserve, but all I've been reading about is DeBrincat, and I just want to take 2 minutes, Nick, and I'm gonna let you go into a little more detail. But this has got to be one of the best offseason acquisitions that we've seen in a while, especially for this Red Wings team. I don't know. I think they've taken a jump. They're contending. I don't want to say a year early, but maybe overachieved at the beginning of the season. No, this is a real team. They now have Patrick Kane. Alex DeBrincat is the scorer that this team needed.
Yeah.
Nick, it's been a great half a season, right?
Yeah, it definitely has. It's had some ups and downs, but you think about Alex DeBrincat specifically. The reason this team was able to get out to such a hot start at 5-1-1 was because Alex DeBrincat had 9 goals in those first 7 games.
You're right.
He started out hotter than you could ever imagine for a Detroit sports team that he grew up rooting for in the Red Wings. So it was that homecoming fairy tale that you hear about. But the thing with starting hot, it's hard to keep up that momentum. So in the first 7 games, he had 9 goals. But the last 43 games, he only has 9 goals.
Oh.
So it's double-edged with it. When it comes to Alex DeBrincat, we need him to remain hot like the beginning of this season and not like the last 43 games where he's only putting up 9 goals.
I love it. And as I'm learning more about hockey, I'm trying to get deeper into the hockey world. His biggest, what he's brought to the team most, I don't want to, correct me if I'm wrong, but like the Detroit Red Wings needed defense and needed goalie, and they maybe are still looking for that. But power play, like that was an issue last year. They couldn't score on the power play.
Yeah, he was definitely a big help in the beginning of the season, like I said, but he's been struggling as of late. And like I just alluded to, 9 goals in 43 games, that's not acceptable from your lone all-star in Alex DeBrincat.
Yeah.
We need to find a way to get him open shots like we've seen in the past, because he does bury them, but he needs to get back on that hot streak. He's currently on pace to put up 70 points this season, which in total would be a phenomenal year for Alex DeBrincat. But it's just the way he started, we need to see more of that Alex DeBrincat, that side of him.
Okay.
So,
If the Wings want to contend like we all want them to and make a playoff push.
Right. They're still right there in the mix.
Yeah.
5 seed in the Atlantic.
yeah. I know I was going to ask you, one, what do you think needs to be done to get Alex DeBrincat back on that hot streak? And 2, how confident are you that the Red Wings will finish off the season with a playoff berth?
Yeah, I could see them making a move for a potential defenseman because they need defense help. And Alex Lyon has been playing like out of this world. I said last night that he was top 5 in save percentage in the whole entire NHL, and he came in as your 3rd string goalie. So when Ville Husso returns, he needs to drop the yips that he had because he was brutal. You couldn't even put him out there. You were losing every single game. So we need dominant goalie play from Alex Lyon to remain, and we need to pick up another key defenseman, I would say. If this team wants to remain in that 8 seed and not give it up, those are the 2 biggest things that need to happen for this Red Wings team.
So this could be a big second half of the year, before, at least before the trade deadline. GM Steve Yzerman, he may not be done doing work this season.
Yeah, I would say so. This team has a lot of young assets. They are stacked when it comes to NHL prospects. They have too many to count. And I believe one of those guys, and a guy specifically in Jonathan Bergeron, who we've seen on this NHL team before, he's down in Toledo putting up crazy numbers, but there's just not really a spot for him on the big league club. I could see him getting packaged with maybe some picks for a top 4 defenseman, hopefully.
I love it.
Because that's what this team needs.
I love it. I'm excited to continue to follow this Red Wings into the second half of the season. But while GM Steve Yzerman, he's got his work cut out for him, there's been some news out of Allen Park. Back on this Lions train, not only did Brad Holmes win Executive of the Year as voted on by the Sporting News. Yeah, the Sporting News. But there we go. MCDC, your coach, Dan Campbell, is also named the 2023 Coach of the Year. How about this for these 2?
And everything. Look at them. It's business for them. It's business.
It is.
Yeah.
You can even tell in those pictures, which are taken on different days, they're at different moments. They're best friends.
Yeah.
You can almost, like, they're going to wear each other's faces on their shirts.
I was just about to say that, man. You can go back to that with these guys. It's awesome to see, even though Dan Campbell was hired before Brad Holmes, just how much they actually click, how much the philosophies kind of go together, how much they've been able to really be on the same page with everything.
Yes.
I don't think that you see this kind of rise that the Detroit Lions have been on without those 2 being the catalyst and being on point, man. We've seen a lot of these other regimes come in and we thought they were on point, but things just didn't click from the players that were being brought in to how the systems were being used. I remember previous Lions teams when we're like, well, we need different players because the scheme that the coach or the defensive coordinator actually plays or runs is not actually meshing with the players we have. I'm not really hearing that here. And if we have to even move around certain players, just like the types of players we have, and we talked about it in some of the previous shows this week here on this night show, they're getting players that are versatile. They're getting players that just want to do whatever they can to get out there on the field and make an impact and contribute right away, whether they're rookies or whether they're veterans. And I think that all goes back to this kind of synergy that Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell have together.
Yes, and it doesn't even stop just with the players. It starts, or it continues with this coaching staff, because that's still under the responsibilities of Brad Holmes. And he dug deep into a former colleague, a former coach who coached with Dan Campbell when he was the interim head coach in Miami in 2015. They announced today that Terrell Williams, the former defensive line coach from the Tennessee Titans and assistant head coach under Mike Vrabel with the Tennessee Titans, is now the Detroit Lions' new run game coordinator and defensive line coach. This is a massive move. This is a move that speaks to everything you just said about the players, about being able to adjust, being on the same page. Terrell Williams, he's still young, but he's already building up a reputation in the NFL as one of those next up-and-coming coaches. He was the assistant head coach. This is 7 years into his career, assistant head coach under Mike Vrabel. Vrabel let him coach a game in the preseason, was the honorary or interim head coach for a preseason game. He's looked at very, very preferably around the NFL. KG, I know I don't expect you to know everything about him, but do you look at this move as bringing in a new defensive line coach or run game quarter? You got to like this move, right? This is pretty good.
No, I definitely like the move, man. We talked about it a little bit earlier, but I like the move. It shows that they are in an all-in mode. They know where they need to improve. I don't think it was all coaching. I think it was some personnel issues along the D-line, but it can only help, man. And I'm looking forward to him implementing a new system with these guys. Sometimes you just need to change it up.
Yeah.
So, I'm looking forward to that and seeing what he can do for a Hutch, for a Lean, and also a new up-and-coming edge rusher, that will finally put on the other end of that D-line. So, definitely looking forward to it.
Dare I say Broderick Martin.
And I think you said it best, man. This is what we were talking about. This staff, this team, they're not afraid to go out there and make improvements. They're not afraid to say, you know what? Maybe we messed something up, maybe we got something wrong, or maybe we need to add more.
Yep.
That's what I love the most about Dan Campbell. I don't get a guy who feels like he has to look like or be the smartest person in the room. Like I have everything under control. I think the best thing from your leaders on this squad is the fact that they know how to properly disseminate, how to properly delegate all of these responsibilities. And if they see that there's something wrong, and if they're serious about getting back to the top, not just having a cute team, not just being okay with a run and then saying, you know what, okay, we can go back to business as usual, but we have unfinished business. That's what that move signifies to me. They know that they have to get right back to the top, and they're going to address as much of their weaknesses as they can right now, and primarily that's going to be through the coaching staff until you get into free agency and the draft, and then Brad Holmes is going to put the finishing pieces on this squad. And I'm ecstatic about this. Vrabel, his coaches, his system, it's not just what he brings as a defensive tackle, but it's more of that culture that Vrabel was bringing to the Tennessee Titans. So when he got fired, I was just like, whoa, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Because I thought he was a good coach.
Yeah.
And I trust his judgment as it relates to other coaches. So this is a good move.
Yeah,
Good point.
And even if you don't know, you trust his judgment about other coaches. I can't say I know exactly how Mike Vrabel evaluates coaches, but what I know for sure just by watching him, knowing who he is, I trust his leadership evaluation. Like, this man is a leader, an assistant head coach of that team. That's not easy to do. So I think adding that to a room that, as we're going to talk about in just about 2 minutes, retained a couple leaders. Like, the leadership in Allen Park is just skyrocketing. The first thing I thought of when I saw this hire was what happened to John Scott Jr. He was a first-year defensive line coach from Penn State last year. Actually, one of my favorite coaches, a really awesome guy, and I believe he's pretty reputable in terms of having a long future. It doesn't look like he's not with the organization anymore. I don't know if they're adjusting roles, if he's going to support Terrell Williams. I have a feeling he'll still be in the building, so I'm looking forward to seeing that. But before we get to the next section, I know. Well, I guess it's not really teasing it. We're going to talk about Aaron Glenn coming back here in one sec.
Clearly.
And I want to build that up a little bit. But it was kind of a last minute. We found that out today. Does Terrell Williams being hired as the defensive line coach, being announced today, could there have been something in the works where if Glenn was going to sign with the Commanders, Vrabel was going to be that defensive coordinator, and they both were going to come?
That's a good question.
It may have started with the Terrell Williams, Dan Campbell connection, but
Who knows?
who knows? We'll never know.
Yeah, the speculation is great, but you know what, man? Looking at this kind of, you talked about the All-Star game in hockey on the way. We talked about the Pro Bowl, the football, NFL's version of the All-Star as well. One thing that I've noticed, just kind of sitting here looking at this, you're going to get them smiling a little bit. You're going to get them, chuckling, having a little bit of fun. But I can assure you, there are moments where you can look at Sam Laporta and you can look at Jahmyr Gibbs' face and you could tell they would rather have been somewhere else preparing for the Super Bowl right now, man.
Yeah, you could see it. That was the first thing you told me when we put this on. You're like, man, Laporta looks like he's not done with this season. He's got that look on his face.
Man, I want this to be on their minds, not in the back of their minds, not just somewhere very deep in the subconscious. I want this in the forefront of their minds all off season, all summer, every workout, every weight they touch, every drill that they run. I want that to be on their minds. How close they got, and that taste, man, from being that close and letting it slip away. This team are going to be a pack of wild, angry, nasty dogs coming into next season. Mm-hmm. That's what I firmly believe, man. When I can see them here, and it's not just business as usual. I feel like that's the old Lions, man. When we would get one of those players to sneak into the Pro Bowl or whatnot, and you see them there just having all sorts of fun. Like, I'm one of those guys now. I'm away from my team who's not really this, that, and the other. No, this squad, man, I know from Penei Sewell all the way down to the rookies, like Laporta and Gibbs. Mm-hmm. These guys know.
Campbell,
Branch. They know. They know, man. They know just the magnitude of everything that was going on, and I absolutely love it.
And that's why Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell drafted players like that. We learned today, well, I guess over the last 2 days, the Seattle Seahawks have a new head coach. It's Mike Macdonald, former defensive coordinator of Baltimore. The Washington Commanders announced today that they have a new head coach. It's former defensive coordinator Dan Quinn. So you know what that means? That means there are no head coaching opportunities remaining, which also means Aaron Glenn is back with the Detroit Lions, or still with the Detroit Lions, and Ben Johnson is too. Our two coordinators, offensive coordinator Ben Johnson and DC Aaron Glenn, are back to run it back. Like we said, job's not finished. These boys are chasing a Super Bowl. We're going to talk about it when we come back. Nick, can you tell us about Big Boy?
Yes,
like
sir.
Terrell Williams.
Wintertime in Detroit is always better with comfort foods from Big Boy. Try the veal parmesan or the new Southern Comfort Chicken Bowl. How about breakfast? The stuffed potato pancakes are back. The classic lumberjack or the Santa Fe Garden. Also, new apple pie hotcakes that are too good to miss. Top it all off with a new gingerbread shake for dessert. And stop by your local Big Boy today.
Have you ever wondered where all the finest restaurants get their steaks? It's Fairway Packing Company, providing Michigan restaurants, hotels, and casinos with prime beef for over 60 years. But now you can buy these cuts of meat for yourself at the Steak Shop by Fairway Packing Company. Prime porterhouse, A5 Japanese New York strip steak, dry aged Wagyu beef tomahawk. Delicious. Get to the Steak Shop today. Enjoy fine wine, have a private party, and get the finest cuts of meat anywhere. The Steak Shop on Mack Avenue in Grosse Pointe Woods, or order online, Fairway Packing.
Thank you to all the fans for making Woodward Sports your #1 online destination for Detroit sports. We promise not to drop the ball. The only sports network in Detroit that starts with a W. You know, because we win. Woodward Sports, Detroit's winning sports network.
Feel alive during Feldman Chevrolet's biggest New Year's sales event ever. Get the best prices on our huge selection of award-winning Chevrolets. Like this 2024 Equinox for $188 per month. Or this 2024 Silverado for $268 per month. It's the New Year's sales event going on now at Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer.
Rest in peace to the same old Lions. Thank you so much, Sheila. Dan, Brad, we appreciate you. That's also Executive of the Year and Coach of the Year via the Sporting News in there.
And
should
Owner
be
of the Year.
Owner of the Year. That's what I'm talking about. Seriously, though, if there's an award, she should get that. You know what else has found the grave? Same old rock, paper, scissors. It's done. Ever since the XFL, it is done. Jack Labrador has revolutionized that tired game with 2 new symbols and a franchise-changing 3-point play. Discover the action at jacklabrador.gg now and find out why. Once you go Jack, you never go back to rock, paper, scissors. But you come back here to Woodward Knights.
Damn right.
I'm here with my guy, Brandon.
Let's go, y'all.
A.K.A. Detroit Kool-Aid. We got Nick in the sound booth, Detroit Mario. And we got KG in the TD booth.
Detroit Dreads.
I was about to say. Wait, what? Detroit what?
Detroit Dreads.
Dreads.
I like that.
I like that. Detroit Dreads.
Yeah.
But I hope this is okay to say. Were you a Denard Robinson fan?
Yeah.
I don't know. And
Are you saying I look like shoelaces? What you're saying?
No, I don't know where I was going.
I've
with
gotten that before,
This is
so.
one of those shows where we're just talking. I'm just spitting into the mic, so I hope I don't say anything stupid.
Nah,
He's
you
just
get
when
it.
I think dreads, like I think Denard Robinson. Obviously, he's not the only one with dreads. Bob Marley, everybody.
Yeah.
Were you a fan of Denard's?
Oh, of course.
Shoelace?
Come on now. Shoelace was electric when he played for Michigan. The team around him was kind of guard, but I mean, hey, we made it work, you know.
He's one of my favorite quarterbacks.
From that first touchdown run, it was absolutely electric. And
Yeah.
wasn't that the one where he took the snap, kind of dropped it, picked it up,
Yeah.
and then just took off?
Was it like the first offensive play of his career,
It might have
or
been.
as a starter?
I knew it was his first touchdown, but I want to say that that was his very first play as well as a starter.
It was electric.
Also,
electric.
he's still on the cover of the greatest NCAA video
Yes.
game of all time.
Yes.
NCAA 13. If you know, you know.
Yes, he is. I don't know if Madden would ever consider putting coaches or, dare I say, coordinators on the cover of Madden. Maybe we can start customizing our own. But if there are any 2 that deserve a cover, it's Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson. I know we just teased it in the last segment, but we can't get through this show without talking about it. Sometimes in the nighttime, we've heard about this all day. I feel like this has been talked about all day. But this is such massive news. I swear, 6 months ago, actually I posed this on Twitter, like 6 months ago, how many of you ever thought that we would have this back? And I swear, the majority of the answers were like, how about 3 days ago? Like, these guys were gone. These are 2 of the top up-and-coming coach, the top, not contenders, options for head coaching, and they have to get one next year. The fact that they're both coming back to run it back, Kool-Aid, how excited does that make you? What does that just tell you about this mindset of the Detroit Lions team? It's amazing.
Yeah, what I think it speaks to the most is the fact that I've heard for years that nobody wants to come to Detroit, and if we want to take this a step further, that the Detroit Lions are just not serious about winning football. But now you have 2 coaches. You know, Ben Johnson, he was, in my opinion, the top head coaching candidate on this cycle. He decided, you know what? I want to win, and this Detroit Lions team is set up to do that. These other teams, they're set up for me to maybe go in there and be my own boss of a program. But I don't know how much fun that would have been for him, especially since he probably puts a lot of this responsibility on himself as well as to why they didn't get it done. When you look at the second half of that game, I think Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn probably both stood up and they say, we didn't stop them and we didn't score. They went on a 23-27-0 run. That has to speak to them volumes. And this notion of unfinished business, I like coaches and coordinators and people in places of administration who say, I want to get the job done.
Yes.
That's what I want to do. And you know what? It also speaks to what they know Brad Holmes and his organization is going to do to support a winner as well. The fact that they can have faith that coming back here is going to be something that works out for them. That, to me, it speaks louder than any other Lions time or regime that I could think of. And then you take Aaron Glenn on the other end of this. So we have Ben Johnson as probably your top head coach candidate in this cycle. But wasn't Aaron Glenn voted by the players as the number 1 guy they would have wanted to play for?
Yes.
Yeah, that to me, it speaks volumes. And the Lions have them on their staff. I know that we get to sit up close and personal. We get to see all of their warts. We get to talk about the second half woes on the offense and say, Ben Johnson got to get it right. We get to look at whether it's personnel or scheme, and we say, man, Aaron Glenn, man, his schemes, whatever he's doing here, coach these guys up. It's not really working, whatnot. Everybody else around is saying, you know what? Those are some dogs, though. And they chose to stay in Detroit. It's like times are changing.
It is. And Walter O'Neill says unfinished business is the motto for next year. Hard to argue with that. And I love the point you said, just with that second half of the game. We all have faith that Ben Johnson. He's an up-and-coming, brilliant offensive mind, and we all believe in Aaron Glenn and his ability to lead a group of men and be a really great head coach in the future. The fact that it was both the offense and the defense in the second half that really they dropped the ball, pun intended. The fact that they totally could have thought to themselves, like, man, I can't leave this organization like that. I do think it's probably a little more positive. Like, Ben Johnson's so self-aware of himself, the value he gets from having another year of learning how to be a leader under Dan Campbell and have the chance to win. He's got this offense that they're all coming back. They got to make some offensive line decisions, but he's got Jared Goff for a third straight year and a plethora of weapons. But I got to imagine, because I thought the Washington Commanders was a good job to take, I think he truly values learning under Dan Campbell.
I'm glad that you said that. As soon as you said that, it was just like, you know what? That's the other piece to this thing here. We talk about the leaders on this team from the organizational top in Sheila. We talk about the GM. We talk about even like the finance staff and other support staff like the COO, Mike Disner, Chris Spillman. And when you get to Dan Campbell, he was brought in by kind of a conglomerate of these minds getting together and saying, who's the best person to represent what we want to see out there on this field and in the locker room. When you talk about going to war for a leader like Dan Campbell, I think that's something very, very difficult to say, you know, I'm just going to leave this, especially if the team is not just winning, but has great chances, man, at getting back to the top of that mountain. How do you say no to that? You're talking about your next stop for both of these head coaches, for both of these assistant coaches, your coordinators are going to be at the head coaching position. And you're learning from somebody right now who learned from some of the best coaches in NFL history. How do you get any better than that? An opportunity to actually get to the Super Bowl and learn from one of the best while you're at it. I don't care what everybody else on the outside thought. I don't care about all of the noise that other people had against Dan Campbell when he was first hired, because none of these people were really able to go and talk about his football pedigree. They tried to talk about all of the antics. They tried to talk about how he talks, how he sounds, if he has a helmet on and all this stuff. When you look at some of these brilliant minds, and I think Ben Johnson is one of our brilliant minds, saying, you know what, I'm going to stay here another year. It just, man, oh man, what a vote of confidence for Dan Campbell as a leader, as a coach. And to know this, these guys could have went somewhere else and been their own bosses, but instead, I think they know Dan Campbell is going to trust them in their capacities. I don't get the sense that he's some guy that's just kind of looking over their shoulder, hey, you got this right? You got this right? I think he allows them to be their own boss within their capacities, and he trusts who he brings in.
He does. And that I'm sure they believe that he's going to continue that. He's going to continue to give them more opportunities. Like the assistant head coach for the Lions, Scotty Montgomery, talks about how Dan Campbell lets him run team meetings, lets his feedback come in, even if he's not going to use, an idea, say before Dan Campbell gives his game plan. All right, Scotty Montgomery, you present that. For Ben Johnson too, not having played in the NFL, I know there was a narrative out. Often it's like, A, what is Ben Johnson doing? And on the flip side, it's B, Aaron Glenn, if he gets offered, he's got to take it because you never know if he's going to get that job next year, for people who might not believe in him. But look at their leadership qualities. Aaron Glenn, no one questioned his ability to lead a group of men. And he played in the NFL. He knows what it takes. Even if he has to get better at a lot of things, he's been in this situation. He knows he's learned under NFL head coaches. Ben Johnson, on the flip side, is in a coaching staff full of former players who have had that scenario. He's not. So the ability to learn more from Dan Campbell and Aaron Glenn and these former players, I think, is everything. KG, I'm going to ask you a question, though.
Okay.
And it involves pressure. Which has more pressure on them going into this 2024 season? Before the draft, free agency, all of that. Is there more pressure on Ben Johnson or more pressure on Aaron Glenn?
You got to say AG, because it's just the real, man. Like, I'm glad to have him back. I feel like we're better with him back. But there is kind of like a, I don't want to say like a, it's going to be time to show some things in 2024. I'll say that. He's going to get another year of a great draft class. We got a lot of cap room coming in. I expect them to address all, if not, most of their defensive deficiencies. And he's going to have to perform because I mean, yeah, he's done a lot with a little, but like I said, this yardage, giving up all these yards to receivers and all that, that has to stop.
Yeah.
Because it's not going to bode well in the long run. We were able to win a lot of games because of it, and it didn't necessarily hamper us. But going forward, he has to do something about that. The run game has been good, playing defensively against the run, so that's good. He just has to figure out one side of the ball, and then I feel like we're a Super Bowl caliber team. But there is a lot of pressure on AG going forward, because if he can't deliver this year, you think it's bad now, a lot of fans are going to be after him if he can't, reel this defense in.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask you as well about Ben Johnson. What are your expectations for him this season? We know out of the two coordinators, he probably had the most to show.
Yeah.
Or he showed the best, I would say. But those second half woes, those third quarter woes, man, what are you looking forward to with Ben Johnson this season?
And that's just it. It's literally just the third quarter or second half adjustments I feel like he needs to improve on. We've had a top 5 offense both years he's been under the helm, and I don't expect that to change. I really expect it to go even further depending on the type of weapons and how they reload the offensive line. But the offensive line is intact. The receivers are intact. The quarterback's intact. You got another year in this system. He's going to add more intricacies to the system. I expect him to involve J-Mo more, and that might help take the top off the defense more. It's literally just the late game decisions that he has to work on, much like Dan Campbell and how we said he had to work on those things. But he just gets a little too conservative for my taste when we have a big lead, or just in second half in general, man. So that's something that I need him to work on. Just better play calling, and maybe I don't know, just a better assessment of the situation, whether we should be running or passing in those third and fourth quarters.
Yeah, and although he has his quarterback, doesn't mean he only needs the coach for 3 quarters.
That's true.
See what I did there?
Yeah.
Quarterback. Shane!
You in your bag
Ryan
tonight,
Hamilton.
brother.
What is that?
Said you're in your bag tonight.
I'm trying. Yeah, this is
Stays in that
dress
bag.
rehearsal. We're just having fun tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Ryan Hamilton, always been a fan of Woodward Nights. This is a $9.99 donation. Thank you. Always been a fan of Woodward Nights. Can't wait to see what's next. Looking forward to what's next. Y'all are the best. Hell of a season. Barry SOL. Last Dance. Woodward Nights forever. Ryan, thank you so much. You've been such a valued member. It's been fun getting to know you through all the chats, but especially this one. When we come back, though, and this is, hey, for you too, Ryan, we got a segment led by Nick. Nick's Picks. We're going to be talking NFL draft a little bit different than what you might expect. Nick's going to propose some options to us. He's going to share some mock drafts, and we're going to react to them when we come back. But first, let me tell you about Mark White Real Estates. Mark White, if you're dreaming of a new home, but feeling the financial pinch, Mark White & Associates, your trusted real estate experts, are here to help. Mark White and his team will pay up to $5,000 of your closing costs. That's right. I said $5,000. So call Mark White & Associates today at 248-290-8242 or visit them at markwhitesells.com.
Come to any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men for an award-winning haircut experience from one of our talented stylists and register for a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to win an all-expenses-paid suite for the 2024 NCAA tournament for you and 5 of your best buds. That's right, college basketball's most elite event. You and your 5 best friends just get to any Lady Jane's today for an award-winning haircut experience and automatically register to win the trip of your dreams. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Lady Jane's, it's wicked awesome.
Feel alive during Feldman Chevrolet's biggest New Year's sales event ever. Get the best prices on our huge selection of award-winning Chevrolets. Like this 2024 Equinox for $188 per month. Or this 2024 Silverado for $268 per month. It's the New Year's sales event going on now at Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer.
Now, coming to Woodward Sports. Woodward and Main Street. The Woodward Sports Network Detroit Lions Show. Let's go! Catch Gabrielle D. Phillips, Matt Broder, and Terry Foster for all the latest news on your Detroit Lions every week. Only on the Woodward Sports Network YouTube channel and woodwardsports.com.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
Are you tired of wearing the same old Detroit sports merch? It's a new era in sports wearables, new designs, amazing apparel, and the ultimate swag. Check out Woodward Sports' latest gear at woodwardsports.com and click shop. Hoodies, tees, and the hats that are guaranteed to turn heads. They get the latest designs today at woodwardsports.com. Click shop.
How elite is Nick? How elite is Nick at doing those reads?
Nick is elite.
He
He's elite at life, man.
He is. He puts all energy. He puts his energy into everything.
Look at him in there working. Look at him.
Yeah.
Look at him.
Let's go.
I remember the first time that I met Nick, it was actually at LCA on the concourse at a Detroit Pistons game. You want to talk about a person who's on the scene at and involved with all of our Detroit sports teams, it is Nick. And I remember we had a trivia that night, and he was the first person I had interviewed that night. I forget the questions now, but he was the first one who got all 3 of those questions right. And then he told me, he was like, look, man, I want to have a place amongst Detroit sports. He was like, I want to be able to be at Woodward Sports. I want to be able to come there, even if it's just an intern position. And I remember after about maybe a month and a half, he came back to me and he was like, Kool-Aid, I got the job.
Let's
and
go.
I was ecstatic for him.
Yeah.
And now, the rest is history.
Now I'm going back to the heavyweights, the guys that
Where it
brought
all
me
started.
in. And speaking about heavyweights, I know there might be some offensive line help, some good wide receivers to look forward to. We're going to break into this mock draft. It's going to be NFC North based, because you know we are the kings of the castle now, and these guys are coming for us. So are you guys ready to break this down?
Yeah, so Nick, explain to me. This is mock drafts, I believe CBS, you said.
Yeah,
they're experts, we'll call them. They're
Exactly.
analysts.
Yeah.
Have done, we'll call it a way too early mock draft. And so we're going to react. I haven't seen these yet. We're going to react to who they picked to the different NFC North teams.
Yep, that's
Okay.
correct. So I'm going to ask you
Okay.
questions, what you guys would do in the scenarios maybe, and what you think about these picks, because we're going to have to see them twice a year.
Just don't put Marvin Harrison on the Vikings. That's all I ask.
That would be horrible.
That's all I ask.
All right, we're going to kick this one off with the very first pick. The Chicago Bears take Caleb Williams. We'll start with you, Kool-Aid. Would you, if you're the Chicago Bears, give up on Justin Fields and reset the quarterback clock and take Caleb Williams at 1-1?
I'm going to be for real with you, man. If this was kind of the beginning of last year, I would say yes. What I saw Justin Fields do as the season continued to go on, and even talking to the legend Terry Foster, we were both at this conclusion towards the end of the year. That is not somebody that I would give up on. I think you can take that number 1 pick and you can get more for your money and put more on this team, surround him with more, and honestly come away, in my opinion, a little bit better. I think Justin Fields has an electric arm, and when he uses his legs in combination, I think he's one of those kind of, he's a scary quarterback in my opinion.
I happen to agree with you. I think we're in the minority too of guys who still believe in Justin Fields, and I personally find it a little hard to believe he's torn up the Lions nearly every single game he played. But I get there are some inconsistencies to him. He's got that wiggle. But the haul that you could get, we call him a generational quarterback, Caleb Williams coming out. You could get a haul. Like, I don't even know.
Yeah.
You probably get 3 first-round picks plus some other stuff, or I don't even trade it for the number 2 pick. You know, Washington wants a quarterback. They I'm sure want Caleb Williams. Man, the fact also that Cliff Kingsbury's now there as their OC, I know he was probably brought in there to convince Caleb Williams to accept being picked first.
Yep.
But that could help Justin Fields too.
Yeah.
I mean, they got weapons over there. KG, what do you think about Caleb Williams to the Bears?
Listen, I still believe in Justin Fields as a player. He's not going to have success in the Bears uniform. If you look at the regime, they didn't choose him. So I do expect them to move on. And I'm big on Caleb Williams. I've been watching a lot of him since Oklahoma, really. I feel like he would be a good fit for their team. And also by trading Justin Fields, they can acquire more draft capital, more assets to go and further improve their team. So I think it's time up for Justin Fields in Chicago, just me personally.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I would go Caleb Williams with that first pick. That's a good one.
Nick, I don't know if you know this answer, but I wonder how many times in history a team has traded the first overall pick in back-to-back seasons?
I don't think ever.
It can't be ever.
I don't think ever. But speaking of trading that pick, I would not trade that pick. I would absolutely take Caleb Williams and move Fields for probably a second rounder. I don't think you get a first out of him because he's due up for the big contract in a couple years here. So that's why I would reset the quarterback clock and go with Caleb Williams. And that's where we're going to go with the next one. You get your franchise quarterback of the future, and you're picking at 9 with that second first overall pick if you're the Bears. They go Roma Duze out of Washington. We saw a lot of them in that Michigan game. Would you guys go with a weapon here on the outside, or would you possibly go offensive line to help out that quarterback of the future?
I'm going to sneak in so Kool-Aid doesn't steal it. I'm going offensive line. I'm continuing to protect not even Justin Fields, Caleb Williams.
Whoever's there.
Yeah. You got DJ Moore. You got, I guess not Darnell, but who's their number 2 again? They have decent weapons. Their tight end's good. I'm blanking on all their names right now. But they have weapons. You just got to protect them. That offensive line is the weakest. Or continue to add to their defense. I mean, they got to go up against the Lions, the Packers twice a year.
Yeah, you know what? That's great context. When you talk about the pass rushers and the defensive lines that they're going to have to go up against, and some of these games that they lost earlier in the season was because of that lack of protection on the offensive line for the Bears. Sometimes, though, it does. I think that there is a value sometimes when if you're going with like a young quarterback, to bring in a wide receiver that you can pair him with and that they can grow with and that they can have this kind of connection with. But I don't know what good it does you if you can't keep them clean, if you can't give them a clean pocket to operate in. At first, I was leaning towards drafting Rome, but I think I got to go with you. Offensive line.
Yeah. Protect him. DJ Moore, Darnell Mooney, Cole Kmet. That was the tight end's name. I was blanking.
Yeah, because even last year, man, the Lions they were giving Justin Fields hell, man. You know, when James Houston was in that game as well, they were absolutely on it. And the way that they came back in that other game against the Bears was because they were able to get, and I'm talking about with a defensive line that wasn't, to me, as ferocious as last year for the Lions, but that still helped propel them to get this victory, or at least give the ball back to go off with an opportunity to go down the field and make something happen.
Couldn't agree with you more. KG, are you going Roma Duze?
No, I'm not.
No.
Like y'all said, perfect. O-line. If not, you're going to have the same problem with whoever you got back there. But, yeah, you got to protect the quarterback, just point blank period, man. And that's an area of need that they've been suffering from for a long time. We point to David Montgomery. He was always a good back, but he couldn't get anything going in Chicago because the O-line was so bad. He comes over here and it looks like a revelation, but he always had that ability. But, they got to draft O-line here, man. And like I said, if they do trade Justin Fields, that's just more draft capital for them to go get a young receiver to put out there. But if I'm them, I'm going in the market for my receiver, get a more experienced veteran talent. They still have a lot of cap space, if I'm not mistaken. So they have options here, but I would go O-line, absolutely.
Especially if they don't re-sign Jalen Johnson. That 9 pick's going to be right around where Mr. Kool-Aid McKinstry should still be.
That's true.
Oh, yeah. I'm right there with you guys. You got to get O-line help. We've seen Justin Fields running back there like crazy. You want to protect Caleb Williams. I would definitely lean second or third round for a receiver. But to put a pin in the Bears, are you guys worried for all of this capital? We've seen what that defense can do moving forward, that the Bears can be a contender in the NFC North.
Yeah, I don't want to say worried, but I kind of expect them to really push the envelope. The NFC North is going to be good.
Yeah.
There will always be a team that maybe underachieves, but the way that the Green Bay Packers came out at the end of the season, the way the Bears came out at the end of the season.
It was good. It was good the second half of last year.
Yeah, we know the Vikings aren't going to go away. Like they may linger depending on what their quarterback situation is, but Kevin O'Connell has them competing somehow, some way every year.
Vikings going in the tank though.
I think so, but I thought they were going to be horrible this year. They were all right.
Yeah, sure.
Yes. And speaking of the Vikings, real quick, are you concerned about the Bears moving forward, being a contender in the NFC North?
I'm not concerned about any of these teams getting better and being potential contenders because I believe that the Detroit Lions, with the improvements that they have, they're already the best team in the division. And now you're going to go and you're going to add a lot more on top. Hey, bring on the competition. I don't want this to be easy. I don't think that winning a championship, I don't think that winning a division, I don't think that repeating is ever easy. So, you know what? Go on there. Let this division be something that I think ultimately, when you got to the playoffs, I'll be for real with you. I thought that their playoff matchups looked like easier games to them than the NFC North games this season. And I believe that if your division is kind of beating you up along the way, you make those playoffs, you get an opportunity to go into the playoffs and honestly be a little bit more tough, be a little bit more. You go in there kind of like, yo, I got to out-nasty this other team because of what you've been doing all season.
You've been through it, 6 games.
You've been through it. So it's like, yeah, I got confidence in these Detroit Lions this year and what they're doing. And I believe that a little bit tougher division helps them in the long run.
Yeah.
And one of the teams that I feel like is going to be at the bottom of this division moving forward, Kirk Cousins' deal is up.
He's not coming back.
Their Deion Hunter is due for free agency. So the Minnesota Vikings at number 11 pick Jared Verse out of Florida State University.
No!
He's a great D-end prospect. If you were the
I gotta hear
Vikings,
you talk first, bro.
yeah, do you like?
Sorry, go ahead.
Broder,
Clearly, he has a problem.
Do you like this pick from Minnesota, or would you maybe go Michael Penix here and try to get that quarterback earlier?
I just want him on the Lions.
Good luck, man. They would have to move up, man.
Yeah, it would. So pick 11. No, it would be a great move for Minnesota. And I think they... Penix will be good in Minnesota. I gotta let that simmer. But Jared Verse, especially if they were signed Danielle Hunter or not, that's a great pick for them. I think especially if they have Danielle Hunter, you put Jared Verse on the other side. That's scary. That's where you start getting into to worrisome defensive line. Man, they went edge. That's
I can see that.
I think that's a good move for the Vikings.
I can see it.
What about you, Kool-Aid?
You know what? These types of things, listen, they're always going to be something to look at, especially when a team is beefing up that defensive line, because you got to think about the fact that whenever Jared Goff has a clean pocket is when he plays his best game. But these teams in this division, I'm not going to be surprised if they're going and saying, you know what, we got to get more on this defensive line. Why? Because when you look across the line at the Lions offensive line, no, I think these moves would be moves in conjunction to say, how do we catch up with the Detroit Lions and what they're doing on their offensive line? The pack, they're always going to follow the leaders. Mm-hmm. That's what this type of move says to me. Do you take some type of concern? A little bit. But like Penei Sewell, it's like, it doesn't concern me. Not at all.
Not at all.
Not at all.
Talk to him, Kool-Aid.
KG, I'm going to come to you when we get back from break.
Cool.
I want to hear what you got to say about Jared Verse.
Cool.
But first, I need Mr. Kool-Aid.
Yes,
Tell me
sir.
how to.
Kool-Aid?
I want Jared Verse to stay out of Minnesota. Kool-Aid, can you tell us about Guardian Alarm?
I can. Look, Guardian Alarm, it's a new year. Let Guardian Alarm offer you customized solutions from real experts. Our professional technicians take the time to recommend security and automation solutions specific to your needs. 24/7 professional monitoring. Call us anytime, day or night, and know that a Guardian team member will stay on the phone as long as needed. Technology backed by people. Your safety and security deserves technology that's been proven to work and people who have been proven to care. Call 1-800-STAY-OUT. Hey, Jared Verse. 1-800-STAY
out, Verse.
Of the
Come to any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men for an award-winning haircut experience from one of our talented stylists and register for a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to win an all-expenses-paid suite for the 2024 NCAA tournament for you and 5 of your best buds. That's right, college basketball's most elite event. You and your 5 best friends just get to any Lady Jane's today for an award-winning haircut experience and automatically register to win the trip of your dreams. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Lady Jane's, it's wicked awesome.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids, all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today. Have an opinion? Make sure it's seen and heard. Corner, jumper, tweet us, hop on the YouTube chat, slide in the DMS at Woodward Sports on all social media.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
For over 60 years, Fairway Packing Company has provided Michigan's finest restaurants, hotels, and casinos with so much beef. The best beef you could ask for. It's prime, it's Wagyu, it's dry aged. All of it can be experienced for yourself at the steak shop in Grosse Pointe Woods. They call it the Fairway Difference. Excuse me.
Choking on beef.
I'm choking. I need some water. They got grab-and-go steaks, or you can hit them up on fairwaypacking.com.
Can't choke on the beef.
Kool-Aid. Open this up, Kool-Aid. Pause. We are back. This is Woodward Nights. Yes. Woodward Nights with my guy Detroit Kool-Aid.
I was about to try and open the show, but it was just like the open the segment. But man, oh man, oh man.
Sometimes going off script is just what you got to do.
Yeah, man.
What you got to do. But going on script. By the way, thank you everyone who's in here.
Yeah.
We're having fun. This is our last night. We're hanging. We're talking draft, but we're not really talking replacing Lions yet. We're going around the NFC North. We are going to get to the Lions, though, because they have the 29th pick, which is after all the NFC North teams. That's right. Nick, we're talking about Jared Verse, right, to the Vikings. Represent this to us.
Yeah, Jared Verse goes to the Vikings. They don't go with the quarterback of the future in, say, a Michael Penix. But Jared Verse to the Vikings. KG, quick thoughts on that before we move on to the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, I think it's a good move for them, man. The defense, they need to reload. They need to get younger. And at times we've seen their defense has been good. They've had talent, but they've also been inconsistent. So I think they do need to start with defense first. I know they need their quarterback as well. Not sure where they'll go with that. But that's a good area to start. I feel like he can be a cornerstone piece for their defense going forward.
Yeah, I agree with you there. And speaking about a defense that's been stepping up, but thinking about a red-hot offense to end the season, maybe the scariest contender in the NFC North is the Green Bay Packers. And with the 25th pick,
no, I see
and
it.
Kool-Aid's
Man, you broke my
draft.
heart. You broke my heart.
Kool-Aid McKinstry, the cornerback out of Alabama. Fellas, first thoughts on Kool-Aid McKinstry to the Packers.
Don't want to see
and
it.
that close to the Lions pick too. It's just like, man, if he falls that low, you better jump up and grab him before the Packers can, man.
Is that a thing? Could he fall to 25? I really haven't dove into the draft yet.
It says he is the second ranked corner on this board.
Behind
Cooper DeJean.
Cooper DeJean went first?
The white boy.
So Quinyon Mitchell's still available. So however it happened, their quarterbacks haven't gone off the board yet. Shoot. If he falls this late, you find a way to get up in front of the Packers.
You have to. And I don't want the Packers to go out there and get another stud cornerback to add to their defensive backfield. When I think about that second game we played against the Packers, that was an issue to me, man. That was an issue. It just seemed like Jared Goff could not find the rhythm, could not find the flow. Their defenders were sticking to our receivers and everything. This to me would beat us in two ways. A player that I believe would absolutely benefit the Lions, and now somebody going to probably our biggest threat within the NFC North. And I mean, his name is Kool-Aid, man. Like, nah, he
ain't no
deserves,
Kool-Aid in Wisconsin.
Wisconsin Kool-Aid. That doesn't even sound right.
Ugh.
That doesn't even sound. Green Bay Kool-Aid. That sounds disgusting.
Kool-Aid.
You know,
no sugar.
I want to take sugar-free. Is there cheese flavored Kool-Aid?
They would probably do it. But that's Green Bay for you.
Weirdos. I saw a question. So Eduardo O'Neill in the chat said Green Bay already has two stud quarters. Why would they get another? That makes sense when I read it. But then when I think the way that the game's turning, I'm thinking about the Lions, but just offenses in general with so many versatile weapons. Cornerback may be that next position where it's like you can't have too many studs. You're going to have three out on the field at the same time. That's pretty scary to think about. So interesting. Good pick for them. I hope it doesn't happen.
Jair Alexander is a cut candidate potentially with everything that went down later in the year for Green Bay. And you think about David Bakhtiari being a cut candidate.
See, I'm saying go offensive line.
That's where I was going to pose. They do go Kool-Aid McKinstry here, but could you see them potentially going O-line to replace their left tackle that they've had for years?
I want to say yes, but have they ever learned? They've had a star quarterback for last couple decades, and they just seemingly decided to avoid going offense and offensive weapons and offensive line. So I don't know if they should. You got to if Jordan Love is what we think he can be after the last 5, 6, 7 weeks of the season, you give him the Jared Goff treatment and you try to build that offensive line, protect him.
Because you see how good Jordan Love was when he got time? When they played the Detroit Lions, it seemed like he had all day to sit back in the pocket and just pass. And it wasn't just that he had a clean pocket. He was putting these passes on the money. Even when he had a little bit of opportunity to scramble to the left, scramble to the right, hit the windows, hit the pockets. It was just like what we used to talk about with Stafford, with the Stafford windows. In that game, Jordan Love, he got the protection. We saw how much it did affect him. And listen, if I were the Packers, I would continue to protect.
Yeah.
Protect Jordan Love.
Man,
KG, what would you do there? Go O-line, or are you going Kool-Aid if he's there, if you're the Pack?
Man, Kool-Aid in the green and yellow, you hate to see it, man. You don't want to see that. But, I mean, it would be a bad move for them. I don't know what they're going to do with Jair Alexander. I feel like they don't like some of his antics.
Jair?
Yeah, I know, right? Who does that? But yeah, I don't know if they necessarily like his antics. They don't really seem like the type of organization that likes to put up with too much of that. I do think they would be better suited going for O-line and protecting their investment in Jordan Love. But I mean, if they pick Kool-Aid, I mean, it is what it is. They're going to get torched by the Lions every year, so that's how I feel about it. F the Packers.
Eduardo just said Packers have had 8 first-round picks on defense. It's ridiculous.
Damn. Wow. We got a trade.
No.
The Minnesota Vikings trade up to number 27.
Oh.
In this mock draft.
So from
the Vikings leap the Lions by 2 picks in this mock. They go with the quarterback out of Michigan, J.J. McCarthy.
For
their future quarterback, the Vikings.
No.
First thoughts on it, fellas.
That's what you were teasing in the first pick with Jared. So you're getting Jared Verse and JJ.
What kind of punishment is that? Like, don't punish this boy. He just won a national championship. And now y'all sending him to Minnesota to sit behind potentially a Sparty? Nah.
I think that's genius.
I don't want it to happen, though.
Well, right. And I'm bullish on JJ's future. He needs a year or two to sit behind a quarterback. Maybe that's enough for them to say, all right, Kirk, we'll give you your 2 years at $90 million. Groom JJ.
Goodness.
And you know Kirk's the type of guy. He's gonna help who's ever behind him.
Yeah.
JJ in purple and gold. Purple. And with Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, maybe Roman Wilson. They probably go after if you draft someone like JJ. I think it's a great move for Minnesota. Yeah, I can't deny it.
Yeah, as much as I do like JJ McCarthy, it's like, if you're going to select him as a quarterback, especially with some of the inconsistencies they've had with Kirk Cousins' injuries throughout the years, it's like JJ McCarthy getting the opportunity to be able to sit and learn like you stated. I think that would be good for him. I just don't want to see it, man.
Me neither.
Can you touch the Michigan helmet for me just one time, bro?
Oh.
We need some good omens here, man.
KG, what are your thoughts on JJ McCarthy potentially sitting for a year in Minnesota?
Don't do this to my dog, JJ, man. He don't deserve that. Minnesota is going down the tubes. Mark it, book it, whatever you want to do. This is a landmark show. I'm saying it. The Vikings are going to be trash. Now, he is going to a good coach. Kevin McConnell, I give him that. He's a good coach. He's solid. I don't think he likes Kirk Cousins very much, just from my view. I think they are going in a different direction at quarterback, so that could mean JJ starts year 1. So I don't know if I want to see that. The O-line is kind of so.
Yeah.
He would have weapons, though. I give him that. If JJ were to go there, they got weapons. It seems like a semi-decent destination for him, but I don't want to see him.
What do you think is the best place for JJ McCarthy, man?
I said Vegas. Me personally, I want to see JJ McCarthy in the Sin City, man. I feel like that's a good fit for them, their locker room. They need to get some more weapons, of course, but JJ in Vegas, I feel like would be a dog move with Antonio Pierce finally being the coach over there.
Big Show JJ out in the Vegas Strip, man.
I just thought about.
What up?
Actually, no, I gotta say it. I can't. I'll let you. What about
Anakin in the chat said JJ needs to go anywhere but Minnesota.
I'm trying to tell you, don't do that, man.
Why don't you go?
You're gonna ruin this guy's career before he gets started.
What about Seattle? Head coach, former Michigan defensive coordinator.
It's not a bad spot.
That's not a bad.
They're looking
yeah.
for a QB. Maybe they can convince Geno Smith one more year, coach him up.
JJ with K9.
Bro! Dang.
Yo, that made Broder happy.
Just get him out of Minnesota. Yeah, get him out of Minnesota.
Get him out of Minnesota. We got to save our guy.
It's interesting. Oh, another trade. I want to say real quick about the other trade. Maybe CBS Sports was onto something. The ability. It seems like Minnesota moved up into the first round to make sure they got him. And I think he's probably a second or third rounder at this point. They get him on that 5-year rookie contract to allow him to sit behind someone. So that's a
little bit of
speculating. I think that's a great strategy for someone like J.J. McCarthy. I don't know if Minnesota. That's tough. That's what I'm going to be looking for as this draft unfolds.
So I think one of the few things that J.J. McCarthy has to get down for the NFL is just a little bit of ball location. He has the big arm talent. He can scramble, especially if he has the right offensive line in front of him, and especially if it's schemed properly. We know that he has the legs. If they can just get him a little bit of touch in this NFL game, I believe he's going to be a dynamic quarterback.
You can't throw 100 miles per hour every single pass. You got to take
Everything
a little bit off.
with him.
Oh, trade? Commish?
No trade. It's the Detroit Lions.
Let's see what you got.
This
What
could
you
go a
cooking
lot
up?
of ways, fellas. But in this mock draft, the Detroit Lions at pick 29 maybe lock down their number 1 cornerback of the future. It's Nate Wiggins out of Clemson.
I've been seeing this a lot.
He's the 19th ranked prospect, the 3rd corner, and he has balled out at Clemson. 2 pick sixes, 3 interceptions, 21 passes defended. This dude could be an elite guy. How would you guys feel about it going Nate Wiggins at pick 29 of this mock draft?
Defense for me, man. I want the Detroit Lions, and Kenny talked about it earlier. It's some mix of personnel and some mix of what Aaron Glenn has to get right. And if you can add as much talent as you can to the defensive backfield and the defensive line, I am all for it. Obviously, my heart is going to be maybe biasly with Kool-Aid McKinstry, but how can you go wrong here? An opportunistic cornerback, big play cornerback, somebody who's going out there and realistic from a passes defended standpoint.
Yes.
I love that stat. Absolutely love that for cornerbacks, man, because it shows when we look at our cornerbacks this year, a lot of their passes defended were like just helpless and hapless attempts, just kind of like jumping, just to say they put their hands up, but they're getting torched, man. If we can get somebody, because I think that the Detroit Lions, we know that the Detroit Lions need at least one cornerback that can go out there and you can trust them in the one-on-one and the man-to-man situations. I'm all for it.
Yes, and I know he's a really good cornerback. I can't go in depth quite yet and break down what makes him so good, but we're going to be doing that here in the next couple of weeks. Nate Wiggins, though, when I look at this, I see 2 things. I see Clemson, and I see 6'2". Clemson, so he played against some really strong talent and had all those stats. He got all those passes deflected, defended. And 6'2", we need some size in that cornerback room to go up against those number 1s, the Cortland Suttons, Justin Jeffersons. That's... As much as I love Cam Sutton and I will defend him, he's just not very big. And that he was out on an island. He just couldn't match up to the size of some of those number 1s. So there we go, 6'2", Nate Wiggins. I'd be a big fan of this, KG.
Yeah. I would love it too. And shout out to Spinny. He did a full breakdown of Nate Wiggins yesterday. I love it, man. As Brendan Dillinger would say in the chat, he has great size. The man has great size. And what I notice a lot is that he's an outside man corner, and that's exactly what AG is looking for. He fits our defensive scheme perfect. That's the kind of corner we need. Somebody that can match up and be able to play one-on-one man coverage, especially on the outside.
The Bears are scary moving forward. The Packers are already here, and I think the Vikings are going to take a step back and rebuild a little bit after they see what's going on in this division. But going Nate Wiggins, to me, I like it a lot.
Yeah.
For me, it's all about interior offensive line, getting an elite guy, or maybe trading up for an elite cornerback. Those are my 2 biggest needs for this team, besides the D end that I would like to see maybe in free agency. So I do like Nate Wiggins here, and the fact that he's an outside cornerback that we can put maybe on the other teams in our divisions, number 1 wide receivers moving forward. That would be huge for this Detroit Lions team.
Nick, I want to ask you about one. What do you think of the Green Bay Packers pick of Kool-Aid McKinstry? At 25, it's hard to deny that value, but do you think we didn't get your opinion on that one, I don't think. Do you think they should go cornerback? We got a lot of people in the chat saying they got some studs already. Obviously, Jair is unpredictable, but are you going cornerback?
Yeah. I mean, what do the Packers do? They draft defense. They never draft wide receivers in the first. They don't go that route. I could see them going offensive line if they cut back the RE to maybe bolster that defense a little bit in free agency. I could see them going either tackle or cornerback, and that would be scary seeing Kool-Aid for the next 8 years. But yeah, this was fun. First mock draft of the year, boys. We waited to the first day of February. Let's go.
I love how you did that, though.
Yeah, that was dope.
I told, and you guys, if you want more mock drafts, I have prevented. I know I'm the Lions guy. We're all Lions guys. I prevented them from doing it. I'm not willing to move on from this season just yet. We're going to do it next week. We're going to do a lot of mock draft stuff, but I'd like that we got to dissect the other teams first and get a little tease of that first round for the Lions. Well done, Nick.
If Kool-Aid falls that far, do you think it's worth it for the Detroit Lions to trade up and say, you know what, this is our guy?
If he falls to 18, 19, I'm trading up for him. If he falls to 25, for sure. I don't think the Packers are going to make the same mistake twice, though, because we got Brian Branch last year in that second round trade with the Packers. Not a chance that they play that game with Brad Holmes again.
That would be nasty.
Yeah.
Philadelphia is building through the Georgia defensive pipeline. Brad Holmes seems to be attacking, I guess not just Georgia defense. DeAndre Swift was on offense too. Brad Holmes is going for that Alabama pipeline. I wonder actually if that stays the same moving forward with Nick Saban not there. But when we get back, we'll talk about it. Will you tell us about Planet Fitness?
You know what? I will tell you about Planet Fitness. It is home of the judgment-free zone where anyone, and we mean anyone, can feel comfortable and work on their fitness goals. At Planet Fitness, you will experience a squeaky clean gym that has tons of equipment, a full body workout in just 30 minutes, and all memberships include fitness training. You get all of this for just $10 a month, no commitment. No matter where you are, there's a Planet Fitness close by. There are more than 50 in Metro Detroit and thousands more throughout the world, so visit your local Planet Fitness today. Or why don't you go and give them a visit online if you can't, planetfitness.com.
Now, coming to Woodward Sports, Woodward and Main Street, the Woodward Sports Network Detroit Lions show. Let's go! Catch Gabrielle D. Phillips, Matt Broder, and Terry Foster for all the latest news on your Detroit Lions every week. Only on the Woodward Sports Network YouTube channel and woodwardsports.com. Now, coming to Woodward Sports, Woodward and Main Street, the Woodward Sports Network Detroit Lions show. Let's go! Catch Gabrielle D. Phillips, Matt Broder, and Terry Foster for all the latest news on your Detroit Lions every week. Only on the Woodward Sports Network YouTube channel and woodwardsports.com.
Savor the heart of home at Big Boy with our all-new Down Home Comfort Dishes. Feast on home-style goodness with our Southern Comfort Chicken Bowl, veal parmigiana, and apple pie hotcakes. The Down Home delight doesn't stop there. Potato pancakes are back. Dive into the richness of our perfectly crafted potatoes with our classic potato pancakes and our stuffed potato pancakes. Top off your meal with our new gingerbread shake, a seamless blend of creamy vanilla and sweet gingerbread flavors. Nothing beats the comforting taste of Down Home cooking. Enjoy every bite, only at Big Boy.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles. And with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
If you love animals, if you have animals, if a family member has some animals that you love, go to Premier Pet Supply and get them some pet supplies. They are Michigan's hands down best pet store. They compete with the online and the big box retailers, but you know what? They are owned and locally operated. They have been for over 30 years. They got over 60 brands of food with nutrition experts to help you. So whether you got a dog, a cat, a snake, a guinea pig,
a lion,
yeah. Whether you have a lion, they got lion food, I'm sure, or cat food. Same thing, right? Check them out, PremierPetSupply.com. Woodward Nights hour number 2. We're coming down the home stretch. We'll call this the 7th inning stretch.
Let's go.
We're gonna
I see that baseball player.
Oh yeah.
I get it. I see that.
We've been in our rebrand. We've been bouncing around new names and segments and how we're gonna get creative AF. So we've been just talking all these names. Can't wait. I'm gonna miss this, but I can't. We got new stuff coming.
We do.
So do a lot of teams in the NFC North. What?
I said I'm excited about what's on the way, bro.
Yeah, it's gonna be great, and we got such great loyal viewers. What we're gonna do? That conversation was so good. We want to keep having it with you. We're gonna open the phone lines. I'm gonna put it in the chat. Let me remind you, it's 313-552-6322. Again, 313-552-6322. Let's talk about this Lions, the future. What do they need to do on defense, offense? You want to talk draft? You want to talk free agency? Come with a question or two ready. We'll answer it real quick, and we'll bounce on to the next caller. Kool-Aid, were there any of those draft picks that stuck out to you for any of the teams? Anything that stuck out, whether it's, man, I really don't want them to do that, or they really should have gone a different way? Including the Lions. What did you think of that?
Well, mine is one and the same. You know, I don't want the Packers to get Kool-Aid, and I want them to go in a different way. I just do. But ultimately, what the mock drafts kind of spoke to me, and obviously we covered our division. Good job on that, Nick. It showed that the division is right on the heels of the Detroit Lions. And a few pieces here and there, we saw how much the draft meant for the Detroit Lions taking a step forward. And I think that the players that you saw that they could potentially take around the NFC North can put them right back in the mix. We were able to select 4 rookies that helped to really underpin what the Detroit Lions did this year. And a lot of these teams in the NFC North, they have the right kind of slotted in the draft at the right positions to be able to add some players to really be able to complement and help their rebuilds kind of get to that next level. I do believe that if the Bears go with Caleb Williams, there's going to be a learning curve there. I do believe that with the Minnesota Vikings, for some reason, bro, I don't know why. It just doesn't seem to matter who their quarterback is. They're always going to, for whatever reason, be in the mix at least down the end of the year and be a team that you cannot take lightly. And obviously, the big fish, in my opinion, to be the biggest threat towards taking out the Detroit Lions is the Green Bay Packers. That's the one that I'm looking at the most. And with their philosophy of going defense, and then probably going more veteran-like in free agency on the offense, they're the team that's the most closest, in my opinion, to being able to kind of put together this complete team that can find themselves in the playoffs alongside, again, the Detroit Lions heading into next season.
Nasty. Before I go to KG, we might have a caller already ready. Nick, you ready? Nope. KG, was there anything that stuck out to you? And if not, feel free to take this in a different direction. I want to know what you might do at 29. It's a very interesting timing for the pick.
Yeah.
You know, in terms of what they need, do they trade up? Do they trade back? Do you go get your cornerback, offensive line? You know they need defense. What are you doing at 29?
It's so hard to say because it all depends on how the board shakes out. Me personally, I'm probably staying put because they have so much cap room, and they do have a decent amount of draft capital already. We kept our coordinators. We didn't get any extra third-round picks, but it just depends on what player falls to where. We know that players traditionally fall in the draft, and I trust Brad Holmes' judgment, man. But if you're looking at a Kool-Aid McKinstry or a Wiggins that's up there, or Chop Robinson, like I brought up yesterday for the edge rushers.
Yeah.
If you're looking at somebody like that and they're, still hanging around 23, 24, I would move up. I'm not doing a big leap, though. Me personally this year, I don't feel they need to move up. Oh, my God, that's static. I don't feel they need to move up too drastically. But like I said, it just all depends. But I'm staying put for the most part and just seeing what the chips, where the chips fall.
Would you be upset if you stayed put and they took an offensive lineman, any of them?
Nah.
Would you trust Brad Holmes going offense in the first round?
Yeah, I definitely trust him doing that because one, offensive line, we only go as far as the offensive line takes us.
Facts.
You need to reload. You need to have contingencies for your starters going down. We already know the Frank Ragnow situation. If we do sign Jonah Jackson back, he has had injury issues. That same goes for Vaitai. So, yeah, you need to have some young up-and-coming linemen ready to go. They did that with Kobe Sorsdahl last year.
Yeah.
I know he hasn't completely panned out, but I expect him to get better in this system. But I'm absolutely not mad if they go offensive lineman here, because into the first round, that's normally where you get your best offensive lineman at. So, yeah, I would be on board with that.
Yeah, then you couple that with the fact that Brad Holmes just doesn't miss. It's just like, if he says this is the pick, this is where we need to go, I'm very, very comfortable with that. Even though I want them to be able to shore up the defense, we also know that they got a boatload of cash, and the draft doesn't stop after that first pick. I believe Brad Holmes, who's been able to kind of go throughout this draft in previous years and find value, not just value, find stars after the first and after the second round. I'm very comfortable with whatever plan he lays out. And with the offensive line, we do have a couple aging offensive linemen on this team, and you want to be able to have the depth. So as you get further into this into the season next year, if somebody goes down, you know that you have somebody who can step up and replace them. And we're not sitting here wondering, like with Ioti, is this somebody that's going to be ready to play? Is this somebody, because we talked about the fact that, man, last time he had the spot start, it wasn't that good. I want to know that this team, especially on the side of the ball that's supposed to be the strongest, is always going to be able to carry this team no matter what happens throughout the season.
Yeah.
Big facts.
That is something that I want.
That's to deal with multiple injuries. Like, think that the way that offensive line was designed, Graham Glasgow was that backup offensive lineman to fill in for any of them. Unfortunately, Halapulavati Vaitai went down early in the season, and Graham had to slide in. He did a phenomenal job all season. But imagine how the type of, I'll call him a weapon. Graham Glasgow is a weapon if he is your backup, fill-in, versatile offensive lineman who can do all three. Nick, Lions have a lot of money, about 58, almost $60 million. They got all these draft picks. Is there a strategy, if you were Brad Holmes, are there positions where you would prefer to spend money on versus finding in the draft? And I'll preface it with a little bit of my opinion, and I'm not set on this yet, but what I'm thinking now is I want to spend on a veteran like defensive tackle. I want that man strength versus a developmental Broderick Martin type player, even someone who's already established in college. That's just the way my mind is looking, and maybe go young at the cornerback position. But what's your opinion?
Yeah, I would spend big on an elite defensive lineman to pair with Aiden Hutchinson and Ali McNeil. We saw Ali McNeil take steps. I wouldn't say he's elite yet, but we've seen what Aiden Hutchinson can do. And if you get a guy on the other side of Hutchinson, these guys will be expensive. They make the big bucks. Brian Burns, maybe, Daniil Hunter. Those are two pipe dream type players that I would love to see. And then I would personally draft the cornerback maybe later, or with that first round pick. And we went through the mock. We did take a corner, but I would trade up for possibly one of the top two cornerbacks in this draft. And the thing about cornerbacks, if you are getting pressure, they don't have to be out there on an island too long. So I think our rookie would be able to do well. You move Sutton to that second role, and then you get cornerback depth within the free agency class as well. So I would spend on that D-line.
Can I tease you guys a little bit? I'm going to throw a scenario at you.
Respectfully.
So Lions, they just signed Terrell Williams as their new defensive line coach, run game coordinator. There's a man in Tennessee who signed a contract extension last offseason. He's one of the elites. His name is Jeffrey Simmons. Are you doing what you can to go maybe trade for him?
I want it.
He ended the year on injured reserve, but this is one of those guys. Terrell Williams gets a lot of credit in his development, making him one of the top 3-4 defensive tackles. The dude's a game wrecker.
Yeah.
I think we need a game wrecker. Is he that guy? What do you guys think?
I would do it.
What are your thoughts, KG?
They have the capital to do so. So I would definitely be interested in a move like that.
Food for thought.
And we need another big presence next to Aline in this defensive line. If we can get somebody of a Jeffrey Simmons caliber, man, just think of the possibilities, man. Lining him up next to Aline with Hutch on the end and maybe a young edge rusher on the other side. Oh, my God, man. That would do wonders for our pass rush, I feel like, or at least, in the short term, just help Hutch get home more. So, I would definitely risk some capital to make a move like that.
Oh, yeah. I would. Eduardo has a couple good comments in a row. He says, I would rather put money in a corner, like trade for Lattimore, et cetera, and draft an edge rusher. He won't have to be that guy, so it'll help. Then I think it was right when we started talking about, he says Simmons too, Jeffrey Simmons. Bring him to me. Yes, sure. How fast can we? Yeah, like how fast can we get him here? he's that type of player. I know he's had some character concerns in the past, so there's more to be evaluated, but you need a game record for every reason KG just said. Put him right next to not just Aiden Hutchinson, but Lee McNeil. Like
because
that.
Think about how big of an option that is when you're talking about the San Francisco 49ers game, where they absolutely needed to get the pressure on Brock Purdy. In the second half of that game, Brock Purdy beat us with his legs, and then ultimately because when he starts running, there's less hits on the quarterback, and he was accurate down the stretch. One of the things I was looking forward to the Lions doing, like they did against Matthew Stafford and the Rams, they were able to get home with the pressure there. He was a little less mobile. And the more and more they hit, the more and more pressure that they were able to bring to Matthew Stafford, the less accurate he was as the game went on. I believe if they could have been able to replicate that type of pressure and that type of defense against the San Francisco 49ers in the second half of that game, Brock Purdy is not looking like a guy who's more than more than I thought he would be.
Yes. Come on back after the break. We're not done here. Are we going right to break, KG, or do you want me to? Is there another read we're doing?
We're going right to break.
We're going right to break. Come on back. We got more to talk about.
Now, coming to Woodward Sports, Woodward and Main Street, the Woodward Sports Network Detroit Lions show. Catch Gabrielle D. Phillips, Matt Broder, and Terry Foster for all the latest news on your Detroit Lions every week. Only on the Woodward Sports Network YouTube channel and woodwardsports.com. You have an opinion? Make sure it's seen and heard. Corner, jumper, tweet us, hop on the YouTube chat, slide in the DMS at Woodward Sports on all social media.
What up, Woodward Sports? Dispo Dispensary is bringing you the ultimate experience for the big game in Vegas, and they want you there. You can win 2 tickets to the big game, plus a flight, hotel, and accommodations by following these simple steps. First, follow dispo.michigan, @ShowMedicated, and @ShowMedicatedCBD on Instagram. Like Dispo's pinned post, comment and tag someone you love to bring. Plus, if you repost on your story, you get an extra entry. It's that easy. Join the Dispo family for a chance to score in Vegas. The big game awaits. Follow, like, tag, and repost now.
Come to any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men for an award-winning haircut experience from one of our talented stylists and register for a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to win an all-expenses-paid suite for the 2024 NCAA tournament for you and 5 of your best buds. That's right, college basketball's most elite event. You and your 5 best friends just get to any Lady Jane's today for an award-winning haircut experience and automatically register to win the trip of your dreams. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Lady Jane's, it's wicked awesome.
Football, it's time. I know the Lions are out, but it's Super Bowl. It's coming down the stretch. We're going to see the Kansas City Chiefs versus that team from Santa Clara. This time, you got to prepare. You got to get ready. You got to get your home and auto insurance, and to do so, you got to shop it like a pro with Swiss Insurance. You got to find Mark at SwissINS.com and buy some home and auto insurance. Protect yourself and your family for the future. Give him a call at 248-800-4177. There we are. Welcome back. This is Woodward Nights. We're coming down the home stretch.
Yes,
this
sir.
really is the 7th inning stretch. We got the 8th and the 9th coming in.
How you feeling, brother? This is a platform that you have kind of piloted for a long time. Obviously, this iteration of it is coming to a close.
Yeah.
But with that comes better things on the horizon, man. How you feeling?
I feel great. It's been a rough couple of weeks, and change happens. That's what I've learned since becoming since being an adult, moving to this industry. I was in sales. I wasn't happy in my past jobs. I wanted to get back into sports as a former player myself, and it's been such a great opportunity to be able to get on a mic and just talk sports. To be able to do this, we started with Booner and Jalen and Nick. To be able to talk about our favorite sports teams.
Yeah.
The Lions have had an epic season, so we focused on them mostly. But to be able to transition. When I first started following Woodward Sports, it was the morning Woodward show. It was Stick and Pilar and Joey and that whole crew. The morning,
Corey
that's what I
Woods
woke
and
up
those
to.
guys,
But when I
yeah.
was getting ready for work, so I take this really seriously. Like being on this show with you and crew, like I'm excited. I'm also I want to do this network well. Like I want to really take this to the next level.
It's
I'm
because
motivated.
of what this represents. It's not just about content. It's about what we do for the city of Detroit, not just here in the studio, but as well as being out there on the streets in the scenes, in the locker rooms, at the practices. You know, you have a big summer ahead of you as well with Tigers. Not just
I'm
the
excited.
big cats, the Lions, but now we got the Tigers up for you as well.
Yeah.
You know, the aim is to make sure that all Detroit sports are covered in a way that ultimately pleases and serves Detroit.
Yes. We're sometimes being a part of a network, and this is no shot at anyone, that we rely on numbers and viewership in the audience, and it's difficult when the Lions are having such a good season. We stop talking about them; those numbers do go down. So it's how do we find that balance? I love talking Pistons. I love talking Tigers.
Yep.
I love learning more about the Red Wings. We're committed to talking about all four, to really building that up. I believe, especially when these teams are down, like the Pistons. This is your team. They're down at the bottom. Almost, I'll call it rock bottom.
Yeah.
But to me, that's when I want to build this community. I get there will be less people watching, but I want to not only learn from you, build up this conversation, build up this loyalty. So when they're good, and they will be good at some point.
Will be.
Maybe it's 2 years, maybe it's 5, maybe it's 1. I want people to come to us for that Pistons because they know we were there talking about when they're bad. That's what it's a long-term vision, and I know it's hard.
Yep.
But man, I love the Pistons.
But you know what? I have a lot of good people who have my back. I love hoops. I just do. I love all of our Detroit sports, but I love hoops. I played it. Got the opportunity to be all-state in high school here. Led my high school in scoring in our downriver, the whole area and everything. Got to go to college, play NCAA, and play with pros. And the one thing, when it was all over, I wanted to do, because, bro, I had Valenti and Foster on all the time out on the East Coast when I went to college. I had to have my connection to Detroit sports. And as the college career kind of wound down, you know, I got the opportunity to play in a lot of big gyms, too. I got to go to Virginia Union, see Ben Wallace's jersey in there.
Let's go.
That was dope. But when it was all over, man, the passion was still about how can I be involved in something sports-wise. And I never thought that an opportunity like this would come around. Then as soon as you step into it and you're talking to legends like Detroit News' Rod Beard, who covered the Detroit Pistons, when you're talking to legends like Terry Foster, he covered all of our sports teams, but his start was with the Detroit Bad Boys. And he told me this. He said, you know what? Hang in there. You know how he talks. Hang in there, young fella. It's going to get better. He's like, man, the Pistons won 16 games my first year on the beat. He said, I saw that Bad Boys team to come together. And it wasn't easy at the start, but it's rewarding. It's rewarding. It's rewarding. Because he said, look, even though all the fans right now might not be on board, the work that we're doing right now to make sure this team is appropriately covered, it's going to be appreciated by all of the diehards who never jumped off the bandwagon. And then when they actually hit that stride, we're going to be better for it, man. We're going to be much better for it to be able to deliver the type of content, to be able to go into these press conferences and get the answers that the people want. This is what this is about right now. It's getting better. It's trying to put out the best content. It's representing our chat. We don't just represent ourselves or our company when we walk into these teams and to these press conferences and such. We represent our chat. We represent our audience. So if there's things you guys want to know from Monty Williams, from Troy Weaver, from these players, this is the time and the opportunity, and what even the new platform is going to allow our fans to do is have their voices heard. The Pistons, the Lions, the Tigers, the Red Wings, these are public assets of Detroit, Michigan.
Speak it.
That's what this is. And it's on us to be able to kind of carry the guard for you all and to be able to work hand in hand with not just, oh, y'all talking Pistons, let's tune out. Oh, you guys talking Wings, or if the Tigers start off bad. No, these are our teams. Yes. Just the same way we saw people this year talking about, well, I never jumped off the bandwagon with the Lions. I heard a lot of people try to say that around the 2004 Pistons time. And I was like, well, I don't know about that, because there was a lot of games like 3-4 years ago when I was at the Palace of Auburn Hills with my pops, and there wasn't too many people in the gym. But do you know how much sweeter it was when they actually hit their stride? It was so much sweeter, man, to be able to go into 2003, 2004, and even the 2005 experience. And no, I never jumped off the bandwagon. That, to me, was awesome. And you know who helped that journey for me? People like Terry Foster.
Yeah.
People who stayed in the trenches. People who continued to find the stories. People who continued to bring the news. No matter what the outside world was saying as a large part, man, I absolutely love it. And this is what I'm hoping. And this is what I know we're going to do. We're going to bring this to the people, and I'm hoping it resonates with them, and we're able to offer you a different look and a different kind of side of Detroit sports.
Yeah. Yeah. And you think those times, really the only option to follow your teams, Terry Foster writing, like it was through written work. It was through these guys on the beat. You had to subscribe to the Free Press and the Detroit News and the Oakland Press, all these different publications. We're so lucky here at Woodward Sports to be able to do this on YouTube, on our website, actually talk about it. And what you and I are going to do, I think it's unique, our show now in the morning, we're not only going to be able to provide you a 2-hour show, give you exclusive insider access every day, but we also write about this. We're in there, and we're building stories. We can't always tell the full story in a 2-hour show, but we're going to be covering it both written and in video. KG,
you know what? Corey Berry, real quick.
sorry.
Stoked, Not Scared, WSN, America's Sports Network.
Yeah.
And you know what? Detroit's heart, man. That's what we're trying to be. We're real people up here, man. I love the team that's here. I love the people that are in the trenches, man. I absolutely do. I'm telling you, every day we walk into this studio, you can feel the passion. Like when KG walked in here, when Nick walked in here. Like I'm telling you, Nick is somebody that I met at LCA.
That's what it's
season
about.
tickets. Like these are the people representing at Woodward Sports. It's former athletes. It's season ticket holders. It's former coaches. KG used to coach. Like this is the type of stuff. Football. This is the type of stuff that I love, man. We're in here with a bunch of people who are passionate, and we're all willing to learn. We're all willing to get better. We're all willing to have a little fun with the chat. We're all willing to take the criticism. You know what I mean? We're not going to be the smartest in the room. We're going to take a page out of the book of Dan Campbell, Brad Holmes, and this Detroit Lions organization. We're not afraid to say, you know what? Maybe we need to make some changes. Maybe we need to do this a little better. But what I do know is everybody here is going to put their best foot forward for you all. I know that from my heart, straight up, man. I love this town, man. I love this city. I love this state. I love the people in it. I've had nothing but good happen to me ever since this opportunity has arisen, man, and it's given us an opportunity to be able to go from hearing legends like Stoney and Wojo, man, Valini and Foster, and try and be the next iteration of that to make sure that Detroit sports is on the mantle it's supposed to be. I used to think, man, why do all these national outlets, why are they in a position to just dog us? Why are they in a position after the 04 Pistons win to not talk about us, talk about what the Lakers did wrong? Why are they in a position, if the Lions do make the playoffs and something dirty happens to them, just like, nah, that's supposed to happen to the Lions because they're the Lions. You know why we're a small market team, though we got a whole heck of a lot of sports fans here? It's because we didn't have this type of representation. Yeah. Let somebody say something about Detroit sports now. You know who's going to be there at the guard? You know who's been there? Woodward Sports has been there. We've been there. From the social team to the show host, making sure to keep people in check. To the point that we see, man, we can start. You see how much we start the engagement online. Stephen A. Smith said something foul about Detroit, and all of a sudden the Woodward Sports family is on it, bro. From the socials to the show hosts, and all of a sudden you see them have to go on their shows and say, well, I didn't mean that, no. Dan Orlovsky, right? We post something in there saying, yo, he's back on the Lions bandwagon. What do we see right in the comments of the post on Woodward Sports? Oh, I was never off the bandwagon. My bro. Come on, bro. You was cheering for man, I'm about to smack the mic off. Bro, he was over here cheering for Matthew Stafford. Yeah. Get out of here with that. Get out of it. We will hold you honest. We are going to be our own big media market. If you guys out there aren't going to do it, we're going to do it for this chat. We're going to do this for all Detroit sports fans. We're going to do it for the people who are not jumping off the bandwagon. This is what Woodward Sports represents. Everything is not going to be sunshine, peaches, and cream and just work the way that we want it to work. That's not what Detroit has ever been. It's been about the grit. You guys are running around talking about grit with the Lions. But then when stuff means it gets to a point where you actually have to work, you actually have to push through, you actually have to, you know what? I'm going to persevere. That's what we're going to represent. That's what we're about. That's Detroit. That's Detroit sports. That's the people. We get up and we go to work every single day. And that's what we're going to continue to do. This just means too much for me, man. It
might
just does.
Drop, bro.
That's what you're gonna get. KG, I'm gonna get your take after the break. I'm gonna let that simmer for a little bit.
Oh no, he just cut a mean promo.
Yeah, I even feel weird making this read right now, but I'm gonna do it because I'm on such a high. It feels like
that's elite. That's elite transition, man.
This is practice. This is why
bro. I'm sweating.
We could easily have just shut down this week or whatever. We're all here trying to get better. Are you trying to get better this week, right?
Yeah.
That's why we're here. Let's go. We're on a high, baby. Dispo Dispensary. It's an unbelievable atmosphere. You know what? They're giving out 2 tickets to the big game in Vegas, plus hotel and flight accommodations. You can win it. You can still go to the Super Bowl. You just got to go to Dispo's Instagram page. That's at Dispo Michigan. At Dispo.Michigan, and follow their directions in the pin post. Again, at Dispo.Michigan. Follow the directions in the pinned post. Let's get you to Vegas. Dispo Dispensary, disposhops.com, your local cannabis plug.
Come to any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men for an award-winning haircut experience from one of our talented stylists and register for a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to win an all-expenses-paid suite for the 2024 NCAA tournament for you and 5 of your best buds. That's right, college basketball's most elite event. You and your 5 best friends just get to any Lady Jane's today for an award-winning haircut experience and automatically register to win the trip of your dreams. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Lady Jane's, it's wicked awesome.
Savor the heart of home at Big Boy with our all-new down-home comfort dishes. Feast on home-style goodness with our Southern Comfort Chicken Bowl, veal parmigiana, and apple pie hotcakes. The down-home delight doesn't stop there. Potato pancakes are back. Dive into the richness of our perfectly crafted potatoes with our classic potato pancakes and our stuffed potato pancakes. Top off your meal with our new gingerbread shake, a seamless blend of creamy vanilla and sweet gingerbread flavors. Nothing beats the comforting taste of down-home cooking. Enjoy every bite, only at Big Boy.
Where's the most convenient place to get that big fitness energy? It's Planet Fitness! Join today for just $1 down, $10 a month. With over 2,400 locations and equipment for every workout, you can get in, get energized, and get going. And with free fitness training and most clubs open 24 hours, everyone belongs in the judgment-free zone. So join today for $1 down, $10 a month, no commitment, cancel anytime.
Since 1996, Feldman Automotive has been driven to provide a first-class, convenient, fast car buying experience called the Feldman Advantage. They have 18 locations. There's a Feldman dealership in your backyard somewhere. Just visit FeldmanAuto.com to find the location nearest you and catch Woodward Sports Network there live. I think we'll be there every other Monday starting in a couple weeks. Feldman Chevrolet, Detroit's #1 Chevy dealer. Boom. Kool-Aid, I think we're getting a pretty good response there in the chat. Your passion, that got me fired up.
Still sweating, man.
They got me fired up. I hope people know, like, that man speaks from the heart. We are from Detroit.
We work for Detroit, too.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Big facts.
That's part of it going to be our focus. This needs to be more about the fans. We're working to be the best host possible. We're also finding the best ways to include you guys, include the chat. But, man, you're right. Detroit sports just means so much to me. KG, while we're on the topic, this is gonna be a short segment.
Yeah.
So I just want to, I want to get your guys' takes. What does Detroit sports mean to me? How do you feel about having this position that you have?
Well, first off, let's give a shout out to Kool-Aid Campbell over there in the round
Yeah,
speech,
right?
man.
Campbell.
Man, it just hit me right in the heart, man. But man, I'm absolutely,
glad you're here, man.
Yeah,
I am for real, man. Like I know you got something lined up, but you're probably the newest addition to our whole entire kind of hosting and our booth guys, and you've just stepped right in. You've just joined everything from the watch parties, any opportunities that have come up. You've contributed aptly. I know that at first you were like, yo, I'm trying to get comfortable, but now you're hitting your stride, and it's just like, man, this was perfect. It was exactly what we needed.
Thank you.
I'm glad, and I'm grateful you're here, just like when Nick walked into this building, man.
Thank you.
Broder, man.
Appreciate you.
Definitely.
I appreciate that a lot, man, for real. And yeah, man, I'm just excited for the opportunity to be a flagship, man. Like, this is really a huge opportunity for us to do something different, something innovative. We got a lot of different personalities, but I feel like they're all gonna mesh perfectly. We all cool, outside of this. We all respect each other, and we all, respect what we do in here, man. And I just feel like, it's what's understood don't need to be said. I work around great people every day, people that I come in here, I learn from. I try and get better every day that I do this, and I appreciate the support from y'all. I appreciate the support from people in the chat that have embraced me, and yeah, man, we just want to deliver something new for the people, man, and give them like a real Detroit sports show. Like myself, I view myself as a fan, and I'm lucky to be able to come in here and do this for a living and be able to get paid to talk about sports, man, let alone the Lions have one of the best seasons I've ever seen as a Lions fan, man. This year has been absolutely crazy, and I thank God, man, and I just can't ask for anything better, man. And I'm looking forward to being able to enhance the experience for the fans and also for y'all on the desk, man. Anything I can do to help, I got y'all, man. So that's just how I feel, man. I love all y'all, and let's kill it in the next chapter, bro.
You're the man, KG, and the keys to wisdom said it perfectly. Next man up, KG. You not only are the next man up filling in some of these roles, but you're gonna be the next man up on the desk, on the mic. However long or short it takes, you got a bright future ahead of you.
Thank you.
You're the man. Also, what happened in the chat? Beck Sider is speaking for a lot of us. We want Nick. We want Nick.
Hey,
we want Nick.
Hey,
let's go.
Nick, first, before you give us, what Detroit sports means to you, how many of the 4 teams, Eduardo asked us earlier, how many season tickets do you have of the 4 major teams?
Yeah, I had one of the best times of my life going to Ford Field this season. I have Lions and Pistons season tickets. I live like 4 blocks away from the stadium. I moved downtown about 3 years ago. And the reason why I moved downtown is because I wanted to feel what this Detroit sports city was all about. And you think about 3 years ago, every single team was in the mud. Every team was at the bottom. We were drafting top 5 in almost every single draft. You think about the Tigers, you think about the Pistons, the Lions, the Red Wings. Every single team has built its way up. And that's what I kind of like to think of myself. Starting at Woodward Sports as an intern, getting an opportunity now to end Woodward Nights, our 98th show together. It's just, it's crazy to think about. I'm so happy that this is not the end for me. I'm going where I started with the heavyweights, which I'm super fired up about. And Detroit sports means everything to me. This is my character. This is what I talk about when I go out with my friends. This is when we're having a, cold one, just shooting the shit. Shooting the shits with your buddies. You talk sports. And now I get to do it behind a microphone to the city of Detroit, all over America with our platform and YouTube. And I just absolutely love it. I'm blessed. I'm thankful. And the reason why Detroit means so much to me is because my parents took me to games when I was such a young kid. And those are all of my most fond memories. Growing up was being at the Palace of Auburn Hills, being at Comerica Park, being at Ford Field, even when the Lions weren't doing too hot. Detroit means everything to me, and I'm so glad that we can talk about it on a daily basis and give the people an honest and true perspective from how we see it being here.
Yo, you know what? How does KG and Nick get the night slot?
Maybe that's in the future.
It, man. Stop it.
I'm just saying.
Can't give all of our secrets.
Yeah, man.
That would be an elite pairing.
I'm with it, man.
I want it.
I'm going to phrase a question. We're going to go take a quick break right now. We got this break, one more break to go. I'm going to phrase the question. I know we just got done talking about how we're going to talk about all 4 sports, and we are. But for our one last time, I'm going to ask you, what was your favorite Detroit Lions game of the year? This is another shout out to our dude, Eduardo O'Neill. Posted it. Was it on Twitter the other day? Maybe it was in the chat. What was your favorite Detroit Lions game of this past year? Anyone, 1 through week 20, any of the games. Let us know. We're going to read all your stuff in the chat. We'll be right back. But Kool-Aid, could you tell them about Big Boy?
I can.
One of our great sponsors.
Winter time in Detroit is always better with comfort foods from Big Boy, and soon it's going to be better with a much better Pistons team in the future.
Yeah,
Red Wings, hopefully.
Damn right.
But try the Veal Parmigiano or the new Southern Comfort Chicken Bowl. How about breakfast? The stuffed potato pancakes are back, and the classic lumberjack or Santa Fe Garde. Also, new apple pie cakes that are too good to miss. Top it all off with the new gingerbread shake for dessert. Stop by your local Big Boy today.
What up, Woodward Sports? Dispo Dispensary is bringing you the ultimate experience for the big game in Vegas, and they want you there. You can win 2 tickets to the big game, plus a flight, hotel, and accommodations by following these simple steps. First, follow dispo.michigan, @ShowMedicated, and @ShowMedicatedCBD on Instagram. Like Dispo's pinned post, comment and tag someone you love to bring. Plus, if you repost on your story, you get an extra entry. It's that easy. Join the Dispo family for a chance to score in Vegas. The big game awaits. Follow, like, tag, and repost now.
Where's the most convenient place to get that big fitness energy?
It's Planet Fitness.
Join today for just $1 down, $10 a month. With over 2,400 locations and equipment for every workout, you can get in, get energized, and get going. And with free fitness training and most clubs open 24 hours, everyone belongs in the judgment-free zone. So join today for $1 down, $10 a month, no commitment, cancel anytime.
I'm
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
What happens when you run a great business for over 50 years? You expand and you offer more products to more people. That's exactly what Les Stanford did by adding Les Stanford Buick GMC. They got the same great service that customers have come to know and trust. Still located on Woodward Avenue, just south of 9 Mile Road. Also, their flagship dealership is in Dearborn, so check them out today. Find the brand you want. More Maz Les Stanford, lesstanford.com.
Shout out to Maz, man.
Yeah.
You know what's been awesome as well is the reception from all of our other hosts and co-workers here at Woodward Sports that are excited for the opportunities that we get to have here. From Ryan Ermanni, Tom Mazaway, Braylon Edwards, Darren McCarty, the legend Terry Foster,
Lindsey Hunter,
man, Rod Beard, man, he was excited. I had to let Pistons PR know what's going on as well. You know what I got back? Congrats, that is great news. It's awesome to see how many people that are in this industry are actually excited about the opportunity that we get to have.
Yes.
So
it was. This is our last segment before mailbag. Although feel free to get your mailbag questions in. We pose this question to you, chat, and we're gonna go around talk about which was your favorite Detroit Lions game. I'll start unless you guys know already.
I feel like you have to omit the Matthew Stafford Rams playoff matchup.
I'm okay if you guys want to mention it, but yeah, that is probably one of the best.
One,
yeah.
I'm not going playoffs.
Let's take that off.
I'm not going playoffs.
Playoffs?
I know what my game is.
I got one
Let it
too.
fly.
I've talked about it multiple times on multiple shows. It's when we finally conquered our house of horrors, man. Up until we went into Lambeau Field and Sheila was just walking around there like Queen of Lambeau. Queen of now, like this is now part of our property too. Let's go and put a Ford Hamp up there on that sign. It was amazing. The fans took over. That was when Jared Goff had to clap back to Ryan Fitzpatrick. Like, I ain't a poor man's anything. To me, that was the start of this nasty kind of persona, this attitude that the Lions carried the rest of the season, man, that I saw shades of in that playoff game against Stafford and the Rams. That game for me, up until that game, I still had nightmares of Matt Flynn out dueling Matthew Stafford. Now it's like all of that stuff, the all of that stuff from the Brett Favre games, from the Aaron Rodgers. It's just like, you know what? It's wiped clean. The slate has started over now. Now we get to kind of start our own trend going forward against these Packers. I absolutely love that game. It was my favorite one of the year. They just came out the gate. Were you here for that one, KG?
I think so.
I feel like you were here. They just came right out the gate, and it was just like, what are we seeing right now? That was my game for me.
You mind if I go next?
Let it fly. Do you know?
Yeah,
let it fly.
So the game for me was definitely the second Minnesota game. Was the second Minnesota game where we clinched the division?
First one.
Oh, it was the first one. Yeah, so that first Minnesota game where we clinched the division, that was my second favorite game. Of course, the first being the Rams game. But it showed me that this is real. It finally showed me that we had tangible results for all the buildup that this season had been, man. And I know we had a winning record and all that, but how many times have we seen the Lions have a winning record and then collapse in the second half? Like, this showed me that this team, they are out to accomplish everything that they said they were going to accomplish, and they kept their word.
Talk to them.
And man, it was just an amazing moment to be able to do that on the road. Not just, we win at home and it's all cool. They did that on the road in a hostile environment, man. And it was absolutely amazing to finally say that we are NFC North champions. We run the division. It's clear we run the division. And, man, it just set me up for what, was to come, which was a playoff win. And then we got blessed with two. So almost a Super Bowl appearance. So, man, and it just gave me so much hope for this franchise going forward. And, man, they have really built something strong in this front office, in this locker room. And I'm just so happy as a Lions fan that has lived through so much pain and heartbreak and misery and more heartbreak, man. Oh, my God. I cannot be any more excited for my Lions, man. Go Motherfucking Lions.
Let's go.
I love that. And we don't have to laugh anymore or chuckle to like keep our pain and our tears back. Now we're doing it because it just feels lighter now. Like the Lions have helped lighten the mood as it relates to football in the state of Michigan, man. For all Detroit Lions fans, to the point that we can actually sit here and talk about what was our best game of the season, and we're not talking about one of our 4 to 6 wins.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Right. Shane Daniel says, wife's first NFL game was the Chargers game, an experience I'll never forget. That's awesome.
Wow.
Ski Mask Boy says, Lions Raiders was awesome. Yeah.
That was awesome.
That was a good one. They didn't actually play that well, but it was they did it. They didn't let the Raiders come back and get them.
And we got a coach fired, too.
That was true. That was the first real signs of, like, Jahmyr Gibbs breaking out. Like, he really started running roughshod in that Raiders game.
Against the former top running back in the league from last year, Uncle Neil Safi said the Chargers game is up there for me. That's a great one. Nick, your top game of the year.
Yeah.
Or your favorite. Could be whatever that means.
Both top favorite. It wasn't the second time we beat this team in the Buccaneers, but it was the first. I was down there in Tampa Bay at Raymond James Stadium with all the other
Lions fans.
And we took that stadium over.
Yeah.
I was down there with a bunch of my family. I haven't seen it forever. It just meant more to me to be with my family down there. The tailgate setup was super great. Detroit Lions fans went in spurts. I mean, you could see on the TV, through all the creamsicles, there was just shades of blue down in Tampa. Amon-Ra St. Brown getting that touchdown with Craig Reynolds, block of the season, absolutely catapulting his defender out of the way. We got to see J-Mo finally get used on the big touchdown in the third quarter. That game was so much fun. I was there with all of the Lions fans and my family to see it. That game will always have a special place in my heart in this special season.
Nick, keep going to games, please. Because they just do well whenever you show up. Keep going to games.
Ford Field South, baby.
Yeah.
Let's go.
How about this from Ryan Hamilton? My favorite Lions game I went to was my first game ever. This isn't this season, but 2022 season at Ford Field, the Lions thrash Justin Fields and the Chicago Bears. Lions 41, Bears 10. Ryan, you're welcome to go back to those games. If you're 1-for-1 and that's your game, we got to find a way to get you season tickets.
Yeah.
You know, call Barry saying, hey, Barry.
You know,
can we help out our boy Ryan?
Too. He was like, hey, Kool-Aid, can you cover me on post-game sounds? I'm going to the game. I was like, definitely I'll do that for you. And then when they won, I'm just like, you know what? Maybe Nick is their good luck charm. I'll cover any sounds for the post-game that he needs me to.
Yes, sir. Nick is the super fan. I was about to say, and it's hard not to say that opening game versus the Chiefs. It seems so long ago, but that just, to me, confirmed everything.
It was a magical night.
It was magical. Start with Brian Branch. I also love that Packers. I'm going to go a little out of the box maybe, but I'm obsessed with that New Orleans Saints game. Like it was the emotions in that game were all over the place. It was their hottest start of the year. I think they got out to a 21-point lead in like 7 minutes, but then they just about handed it back to New Orleans. They never let them come back all the way. They kept adding as soon as New Orleans was coming. So to see them show that type of resilience, we were talking all week leading up to that. New Orleans is not an easy place to play. You know, Anzalone and Campbell, Glenn, they're all going back. Gardner Johnson. Anzalone didn't even play that game. Remember, he had the finger issue, so Jack Campbell was starting. How's he going to do against Alvin Kamara? They didn't let them come back. They made the plays at the end. Sam Laporta, Josh Reynolds. That's when I really realized, okay, this team's not going away. They're different. They're built different in the fourth quarter. Of course, the season wasn't perfect after that, but they just showed me something that we weren't used to in Lions teams in years past. It was like, all right, we're there. Bucs game actually showed me that first because that's the one they normally would have rolled over and lost. Yeah. But I'm going with that New Orleans game.
You know what's good about that one is that I'm generally, when we play the Saints, I'm like, man, this just feels like it's going to be a loss no matter where the Saints are. If they're good, if they're bad, if they're mid. And that was one of those games where you talk about, again, the Lions kind of going out on the road and handling and taking care of business. To me, when you're going to talk about a theme of this season, one of the underlying themes of the season is how well, to me, the Detroit Lions did on the road, taking over opposing teams' stadiums, whether it's the fans or whether it's the players on the field, man. Detroit was on one this year. Detroit was absolutely on one this year.
Well, let me know in the chat. They had, in recent years, I forget exactly when it ended, they had one of the longest losing streaks on the road in the NFL. Remind me what it is. I know it's a crazy number. Chat, if you could do that, let them fly. You know what else we need you to let fly? Mailbag. Get your questions in. We got 6, 7, 8 minutes for you. Ask us anything you want. we'll be answering here when we come back. Kool-Aid, he shows how you get that slicked back hairdo you got, that mohawk you got under that hat, that Rick James.
You know what? A cut sometimes is pretty good. Woodward Nights is being cut, but it's going to, when it's done, look a little bit more like morning show at Woodward Sports, man. Come to Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men for an award-winning haircut experience. Register to win a trip of your dreams and all expenses paid suite for the 2024 NCAA tourney. That's right, no expense paid for you and 5 of your best buds. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles, and with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
Your home is your most important asset. Flexibility in the sales process is key. When you work with Mark White & Associates, you can cancel at any time, for any reason, without penalty. Speaking of flexibility, check this out. Who you work with matters. Hire the best broker in the game.
Thank you to all the fans for making Woodward Sports your #1 online destination for Detroit sports. We promise not to drop the ball.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
This is it. This is it. Our final mailbag. Again, everyone who's in the chat now.
Hey, I gotta stand up too, then, man. Broder's over here.
I have trouble sitting down to end the show. This is our last Woodward Nights show for now. It's getting put on a temporary hold. We're revamping it a little bit, but Kool-Aid, myself, and KG, we're moving to the morning
to do you guys
show
a service.
To be renamed shortly. We're moving to the morning. It's 8 to 10, Monday through Friday. Which camera I'm looking in? I should know which camera I'm looking in by show 98. I'm looking up at the screen right here. We're moving 8 to 10, Monday through Friday. Nick is staying right there in the sound booth. He's going with the heavyweights, with Svenmo Rex, with Speakeasy, and with Chris Platty. That show just got a gem. We're excited for you, Nick. We're going to miss you. We're excited for you. So everybody, tune into the other shows. We're going to blow this thing up this postseason. I really don't think anyone is going to be able to challenge the type of coverage that we're going to be able to put forth for the Lions, the Pistons, and the Tigers. And we're working on some things to build up that Red Wings.
Hey, man, I'll let you read this super chat, man. You got one last super chat.
This is the dude, Shane Daniel.
Yeah.
You don't have to name your future kid Dan Campbell or Sheila because they're not going to be playing in the Super Bowl. But Shane Daniel, $9.99. Thank you so much. Dropping one last super chat for the brand new Knights. Appreciate you all, and I'm definitely going to miss this show. Keep killing it, boys. And I've got the first round in September. He's moving back to Michigan in September.
Hey,
you are
what's up, man.
the man. Let's just do a couple we said we're doing mailbag. Let's do it. Eduardo O'Neill, mailbag. Goff plays MVP level weeks 1 through 6. He gets hurt. Hooker comes in weeks 6 through 12. Plays same level. Goff comes back week 13. What are you doing? And what is your favorite show you are currently watching? Watched. Oh, there we go. Anybody else have an opinion on that? So Goff plays MVP level week 1 through 6. This is the key to me. Hooker steps right in and plays at the same level. That's how I read that. For 6 weeks. For 6 weeks. What are you doing in week 13?
I don't want to answer that, man. That's tough, man.
If he's playing at the same level, you kind of got to go.
I feel like you need to ride the hot hand. And also, his ability to get out the pocket, I feel like would be an absolute asset. I wouldn't want something like that to happen because I get shades of Drew Bledsoe, Tom Brady. You know, I wouldn't want that to happen. But, I mean, whatever is best for the team.
Does that mean that in that scenario, Hendon Hooker becomes Tom Brady?
It would maybe. Who knows?
I've always never mind.
Do you think Dan Campbell will ride the hot hand in that situation? He seems like that kind of coach. He's loyal, but I mean, if it's working, why fix it?
True. I think Dan Campbell would go back to Jared Goff in that situation. All things being equal, but I feel like from a business standpoint, if your second-year rookie on a third-year rookie on a third-round rookie contract in year 2 is playing at an MVP level,
yeah,
you don't walk away from that.
That's tough, yeah.
Regardless of what contract is out there for Goff, unless Brad Holmes makes magic and you somehow trade him. That would be a tough decision.
That's a tough decision. The only thing that kind of sticks out in my mind, though, is the playoffs and the expectations and the experience. The one thing we can say is that Goff has now been to the NFC Championship game a couple times now.
Yeah.
And he has that experience. When he hit the playoffs, he went to a different level. He absolutely did. And so it gets a little tough for me. Like, obviously, I like the mobile ability, the escapability, the ability to extend drives, especially for what we just saw Brock Purdy
good call
to the Detroit Lions. So that's a tough call. I think there are pros and cons on both sides.
Yeah,
the experience, the big moments, the bright lights for the playoffs with the aspirations, hopes, and goals that the Detroit Lions have. Is Hendon Hooker going to be able to handle that pressure? Because playing as MVP in that type of atmosphere is a little bit different than stepping in and playing against teams who may be having an off night during the regular season or might be having a good night.
Yeah.
But I think it's just a little bit different.
Yeah, I'm reading one. This is from our guy, Bruce Bedrock. It's not a question, so react to what he is saying here. We'll be quick. We'll get to one or two more. We appreciate you guys for putting these in. Bruce Bedrock says, Broder, goals. Number 1, repeat as NFC North champions. Number 2, secure the 1 seed with a top 5 offense and a top 10 defense. Number 3, get back to the NFC Championship game and advance to our first Super Bowl. Reactions.
Big facts.
Right now.
That's
Big
the goal.
facts.
It's just like, hey.
That's your expectation. I like that, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else are we doing? Or else, how fake is all the disappointment and all the comments after the game?
Yeah.
That's why I like you.
I just go out there next year and put those goals on yourself, man. I don't want them thinking anything short of getting to the Super Bowl. Ben Johnson's not here to just have another cute run to have, we're America's team, but now we're going to just kind of lay low and kind of let the big boys handle the Super Bowl. No, man.
Yeah.
Detroit Lions. It's not just about being America's team. It's about being Detroit's team and finally bringing that Super Bowl appearance in the Super Bowl era to Detroit.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if you have 1 ass cheek and 3 toes. I will beat your ass.
Yeah, that shit is real, man, what you just said. And we talked about it. I told you my minimum expectation is the 1 seed. That's the bare minimum expectation for this team. My maximum expectation is for this team to win the NFC Championship game and get to the Super Bowl. Now, whatever happens in the Super Bowl, it is what it is. But I feel like
one step at a time, then.
No, for real. But I feel like if we get there, we win. Just being real. So that's my expectation for this team. But how can that not be the expectation when they made it this far, being 1 year ahead? You know, in a lot of people's eyes. So yeah, I definitely agree with you, Kool-Aid.
Super chat, one more. Here you go, Ryan Hamilton. $20. Thank you, sir. Thank you, my guy. You've been awesome all night. All of this show. You said Woodward Nights forever. Y'all rock. Thank you. Best of luck going forward. I'm not crying.
Yeah.
You're crying.
And you know what? I love the absolute support because it shows exactly what a lot of you all did who've been a part of this show. The ways that you've connected, the ways you've represented not just yourself, but these fans and Detroit sports. I think that this is fitting. And what we're going to do with this Morning Woodward show, there's going to be a lot to incentivize our chat and to incentivize our followers. And one of the things we're going to do is super chats. We have a super chat 50-50 giveaway. So as super chats do come in, each person that contributes has an opportunity to walk away actually with 50% of that super chat pot. We just want to find new ways that we can give back to you all who ultimately help to support us. We're going to have things like jersey giveaways, gift cards, and more. I can't wait.
I'm including some of my card collection. I'm going to be throwing in some rookie cards. I got some Lions lined up for y'all.
He got a nice collection, y'all. Just saying.
Tickets to games.
Yeah. I'm going to give, if you guys want to answer, this will be the last mailbag question. If you guys want to answer it, feel free. If there's too much pressure, that's all right. I'm going to end it with Kool-Aid, and I'll close out the show. But this question from Ryan Hamilton. Oh, who just did the super chat too? Mailbag. If you could come up with a message anthem mantra for the 2024-2025 Lions NFL team, what are you thinking? What's your mantra for this team going forward? You want a piece of that, KG or Nick? Nick does.
Talladega Nights, Ricky Bobby.
Shake and bake, baby.
If you ain't first you're last.
Yep.
Hey.
Yep.
Close it out. Just want to shout out Broder. He's been here from the absolute start. Thanks again for taking a shot on me to be your guys' audio engineer, sound booth guy. KG, been a lot of help. I've loved our chemistry as the booth gang in here.
My guy.
And Kool-Aid from the start always had faith in me. Shout out Kool-Aid. It means the world to me. Thank you guys so much. And you guys are going to absolutely kill it on the brand new mornings.
Hey, I like that. I really like that.
Yeah, right? If you're
like
first, you last. Well delivered on the spot.
Yeah.
You got anything? You good?
Job's not finished.
Yeah, let's go.
Job's not finished.
Let's
I like
go.
that one.
I'm going with unfinished business.
Me too. I think we're in lockstep there.
All right.
Unfinished business.
If you were Dan Campbell, what are you saying to this team before they leave? Before they leave Detroit? You're going to come back in training camp right now.
You're not leaving Detroit. You're staying right here and you're working until we reach the goal, man. That's what I'm telling them. And if you do, no matter where you go, keep the pain of that loss fresh on your mind. Like I loved how Sam Laporta looked tonight. He's out there at this All-Pro at the Pro Bowl event, but his face, he was smiling between certain things, but then just kind of looked like you could tell it was on his mind, man. That's what I want all off season, to be the motivation, to be what's behind every workout, every weight lifted, every pass caught, every drill that they run. I want that to be fresh on their minds. You know, I already know it. We're gonna have to take this to the morning show.
Oh, we're gonna do something. It's unfinished business, boys. That's what we have to do. That's what we're going to continue what we're doing here at Woodward Sports Network. Just happens to be at some different times. But again, for you guys, for the chat, for all of our supporters, everyone here, if you're in here now, we know you are supporting us, and that goes a long way. I remember, got a photographic memory. I don't, but I see you guys. I'm so thankful for you guys. This has been a fun season.
Bro, I'm 6'2", man. Like, stand straight up. Why are you so tall, bro? I'm 6'2". I'm used to walking in and being taller. Broder is legitimately like Braylon walked in today, and I was like, "Why are you taller than Braylon?"
Hey man, I can't run like him. I'm not as strong as him. Braylon's the dude. But hey, drank my milk as a kid. Chat, everybody, for Woodward Nights. That'll do it. Thank you so much. Toodles, my G's.
Peace.
Let's go. We'll see you Monday morning. See you, Nick, at 5 to 7 Monday through Friday.
Shout
Thank
out,
you again.
fellas.
Have a great weekend.
Tap in.
Love this chat.
Let's go.
Toodles.